All right, I want to hit the Mexico, and I'll go deep dive tomorrow. It's ongoing. It's spread all over the country. It's far overdue. Obviously, Trump is involved. He's got the CIA in Mexico and in Venezuela. The two partners trying to overthrow them. Chime bomb's terrible. But don't give credit to the CIA. Mexico's been revolting for a long time. That was an easy color revolution. The question is, what do they put in after? Millions. Our news, though, Trump doesn't control it all. It's like, oh, thousands. No, millions protest. Millions. Show that clip. That's got to be 500,000 alone right there. It's all over Mexico. They know the government's protecting cartels. Scheinbaum says leave them alone as they murder and kill and are the actual real government. Look at that in Mexico. Oh, the footage of them, the police attacking people and the crowds grab them and drag them off. They tear down the barriers. And you got Mexico engulfed with the police trying to attack peaceful crowds, so they overrun and tear down the fences and storm the palace like the Bastille of the French Revolution, and it's all over Mexico. And they go, oh, it's the CIA. I'm sure the CIA is trying to manipulate it, but no, that's the people. And it's all about what's about to happen in Venezuela. As Trump cuts off the money and the cartels. Remember when Trump first got in, they said, oh, New York Times, if he cuts the money and bans U.S. banks laundering money, that'll hurt the economy. New York Times. He's done that. He's cutting off the CIA drug dealing. He's going after the Democrats' piggy bank. Another great thing he's doing. Do I totally support regime change? I don't trust it. It's too dangerous. But I get where he's going. This is real. And he's backing the people of Venezuela and Mexico that are under tyranny and total election fraud. Big moves are happening, ladies and gentlemen. We'll be here chronicling it all.
Trump has just saved his presidency from collapsing through these two ingenious moves. Trump looked at risk of losing control of the GOP in recent weeks as a major split took place within the MAGA movement, where previously hardline supporters, including Marjorie Taylor Greene, began openly criticizing Trump, and influential political commentators called for the end of MAGA and the start of the America First movement. This rift jeopardized Republicans' prospects in the midterms, and so in a critical bid to secure his power, Trump made two incredible moves. First, he addressed the people's biggest criticism by sharply changing his position on the Epstein files, urging support for a House bill to release all records, saying that Epstein is a distraction for his administration and that once everything is public, the country can finally move on. Then, Trump single-handedly reunited the Republican Party, as when he was asked by a reporter to disavow the leader of the America First movement, Trump surprisingly refused and instead said that people have the right to choose for themselves, which has been received by many as a public peace overture.
Zohran Mamdani's tax plan will drive rich people out of New York City. That's an absurd argument, and the evidence shows the opposite. Oh, really? Because according to Kalshi, the socialist now has a 92% chance of winning, and his tax plan is to increase New York's corporate tax rate to match the highest in the nation, New Jersey's 11.5%, and also to raise income taxes on those making over $1 million a year by 2%. The issue is rich people will just move to other states, which is an issue because the top 1% of New Yorkers pay almost 48% of New York City's income taxes. That's funny because in 2021, Governor Cuomo actually increased income taxes to the highest rate in the nation on rich New Yorkers, and the data shows the number of wealthy New Yorkers actually rose after that tax increase, and that rich New Yorkers move out of the state at 1/4 the rate of the rest of the population, and when they do move, it's typically to other high-tax states. Well, if you look at New York City's share of the nation's millionaires, it was 6.5% in 2010, but only 4.2% in 2022, a 35% decrease. So although they're still, like everywhere else, gaining millionaires overall, it's at a much slower rate than other cities and states, and this decrease of the share of the nation's millionaires has cost the city over $2.5 billion in lost tax revenue a year, and Zohran will only accelerate this trend. Dude, New York City still has more millionaires than any city in the world, despite the fact that 25% of New Yorkers can't even afford the essentials like food, housing, and healthcare. And if you look at the state that has exploded its share of millionaires, it's California, which has some of the highest taxes in the nation, which suggests it's not about taxes, but rather the environment. And Zohran will use this tax increase to make the city more affordable and livable for everyone. As the old quote goes, the problem with socialism is eventually you run out of everyone else's money. And if you look at the IRS data, it's clear. Red states are gaining filers from interstate interstate migration, blue states are losing filers and therefore losing their tax base, which is why despite that New York income tax hike in 2021 to the highest in the nation, they're still facing a $34 billion budget gap over the next 3 years. Look, there's been many studies that show that taxes have little impact on people's moves, and instead factors like family, jobs, affordability, and quality of life matter much more. And rich New Yorkers already pay a combined 52% income tax rate. You'd be foolish to think a mere 2% increase is the reason they move, when that 2% will be given to a mayor hell-bent on making the city more affordable for everyone, which will be a net plus for everyone, including rich New Yorkers. Yeah, well, talking about jobs, if you look at corporate headquarters, they're leaving blue states and coming to red, and Mamdani will only accelerate this trend. It's common sense. If you demonize rich people and ask them to pay 54% of their income to Uncle Sam in New York, they may just move to sunny Florida, where it's 0% state income tax and they only have to deal with the federal income tax. Follow the money, they say. Yeah, well, New York already has the highest top income tax rate and the most millionaires, so your logic fails. Look at the trends. Look at the trends. Well, the prediction market trends on Kalshi have a 92% chance that New York will finally put working class New Yorkers first. This will backfire. Good luck. Quit the fear-mongering.
And we are live. Yo, this is Set with Set Media, guys, and I'm back with another one for you. All right, guys, we're about to get into it today with Trump taking on the press, the socialists take over the Democratic Party, and, of course, the Epstein files. And is Trump possibly gay? Well, we'll find out, guys. Let's go ahead and double tap that screen and like the video, and let's get right into it.
Any questions? Mr. President, can you just take us through this FIFA Pass idea that you guys are talking about here? How exactly is it going to work for ticket holders to this big event that the United States is hosting?
I'll let my guys do that because they can do it much better. And either one of you two, Nick, would you like to talk about it?
Sure. Well, Mr. President, without your leadership, this would not happen. And we came in 10 months. We have a system that's going to welcome the world. The greatest host in the history of the world is going to host the world here. Basically, this system allows folks with a FIFA ticket purchased through FIFA to go through the FIFA portal. That is then going to get prioritized with the State Department, so that those appointments are going to be had before existing appointments, so that people, when they buy tickets, they have confidence that they're going to be able to come to the games and spend their money and travel this country and do all the things that they want to do and enjoy the game. So it's an incredible vision that the president executed here. Within 10 months, we started with really not that much. And so this whole team here with the president's guidance has made this possible. It's going to be the greatest games in the history of the world.
Okay, do you have that?
Yes.
Yeah, seeing that the FIFA World Cup is most likely the biggest sporting event in the world outside of the Olympics.
Yes.
Not too comments. Daniel, please. Daniel?
Mr. President, yep, you were talking about the economic impact. It's billions and billions of dollars. This builds on the framework and the groundwork that you've built already up for a major year in 2026. Deregulation, energy independence, tax cuts, historic amounts of private sector investments. What do you envision for the 2026 economy when this event comes to town next year, too, on top of everything else?
Yeah, it's just a huge economic boon to this. You know, we had a little shutdown that was caused by the Democrats, and this will make up for it many times over, so that's good. But I think it's the importance of the event all over the world. The world is watching, and it really is. It's like having, you know, many Super Bowls, actually. Each game is almost a Super Bowl. Some of them are, I guess you could say, bigger than Super Bowls. I guess when you get to the finals, it's of that level or more. Worldwide, I think it's got to be more. So that's great. You know, when Johnny and I made the deal, I never thought I was going to be president because I was supposed to be retired by that time. And I got a little lucky. So I'm very honored to have it. And we have the Olympics coming, too. That'll be great. And the 250 is going to be right out on the lawn. You're going to have a UFC event with Dana White and his people. He's going to have the greatest card they've ever assembled. I was talking to Dana White the other day, and they're going to have the greatest card they've ever assembled, Johnny. So you'll be sitting up there with me there.
250.
We'll be watching it. So right opposite the front door of the White House.
I think he means 350. Yeah. Yeah. UFC 350, because the next UFC that's playing is, God dang it. I missed UFC. God, I missed it. Okay. Now that I'm realizing this, I'm a little salty. But yes, the UFC 350 is going to take place at the White House. It's already been set. They're already trying to find like a headliner for it. And they're thinking about John Jones and Alex Pereira. So that should be fun. But if you want to know what happened with the last UFC, Islam Makhachev, this undefeated grappler, has pretty much taken the welterweight champion after he dominated the weight class below that. So I forgot the name of that weight class, but shout out to Islam Makhachev. That guy's the GOAT when it comes to grappling.
Yes, that's going to be on June 14th. So it's really going to be an amazing period of time. But this is something very, very special. World Cup. All my life I've heard about it. Yeah.
Mr. President, I have a question about Venezuela, but can I just first ask, the help of the president's always news. Your voice sounds a little rough. Are you feeling all right?
I feel great. I was shouting at people because they were stupid about something having to do with trade in a country, and I straightened it out. But I blew my stack at these people.
Well, it sounds like there's a follow-up there, but can I ask you about Venezuela? You suggested...
Sounds as the what?
It sounds like there's a follow-up there, but can I ask you about
I
Venezuela?
thought you said there was a polyp. And I said, I don't want to hear that. Okay.
You suggested you've made a decision about what you want to do next about Venezuela. I understand you don't want to tip your hand. Was there anything you're ready to rule out at this point? Are you ruling out U.S. troops on the ground?
Yeah, we definitely got to rule out U.S. troops on the ground, and we got to rule out that that we can pull off a bloodless regime change or a bloodless coup, because it's not possible, because the army is still backing Maduro. I mean, the fact that we're saying that, oh, he's a legitimized president because he stole an election, but yet the army is still willing to back this man up, and it will not let us take this man out of power. Actually, they won't even do it themselves, but guess what they will do? Stand on the coast of Venezuela preparing to fight us. So yeah, we should go ahead and take that idea of a bloodless regime change right out of the realm of possibility.
I don't rule out that. I don't rule out anything. We just have to take care of Venezuela. They dumped hundreds of thousands of people into our country from prisons. Nobody knows better than this young lady right here. She's done an incredible job with Tom Homan and all of your people. It's amazing. You know, we have a tight border right now. Nobody comes in. But we had millions of people pouring through. A year ago, we had millions of people pouring through our border. And many of them came from Venezuela, including Tren de Aragua, the gang. And I guess what I'm hearing, Christy, is that's as bad a gang as there is anywhere
It's the
in the world.
worst. Absolutely,
Is that
sure. Absolutely, they are the worst.
I mean, they're worse than
They're
MS-13.
killers. They massacre people. They cut them up into pieces and they bury them in their communities where they grew up. They're horrible people.
And we had a lot of them, and many of them, most of them, pretty soon, most of them are going to be out. But they sent them in like we're a dumping ground. So I'm not in love with the people running Venezuela. I love Venezuela. I love the people of Venezuela. But what they've done to this country, and I really say this, what Biden and the Democrats have done to this country can never, ever be forgotten.
You suggested Maduro wants to talk.
Actually, the Dems need to take a lesson from Venezuela and understand why Venezuela is the way it is today. I mean, it went from one of the most prosperous countries in Latin America to, well, a dumpster fire, well, due to socialism. So you might want to take some notes, Democrats. I would hope you would, Zoran. But hey, let's get back to it.
Are you prepared to speak with him directly? Would you commit to doing that before you order strikes?
Yeah, I probably would talk to him. Yeah, I talk to everybody.
Mr. President,
Go ahead,
follow
please.
up on Garrett, was that who you were
Please, go
referring
ahead.
to? Was that
Yes,
India?
Rebecca Zuck with Blaze News. So in a recent interview, you had made some remarks about H-1B visas. You
You know
said
what?
about H-1B visas.
Yeah.
You said that there were certain talents that Americans needed to outsource to foreign workers. Could you clarify?
Until
maybe-
they learn that, yeah. Like, for instance, if you're going to be making chips, we don't make chips too much here anymore, but we are going to be in a period of a year. We're going to have a big portion of the chip market. But we have to train our people how to make chips because we didn't do it. We used to do it, and then foolishly we lost that business to Taiwan. Very, very foolishly, because if they had a president that thought like I did, they would not have let that happen. But it's all coming back. I think we're going to have within a few years, we're going, and not because of the CHIPS Act. The CHIPS Act was a disaster for this country. We gave away billions of dollars to other countries and other locations and companies. And all they did was rob our money. But because
it was pretty much the Chinese communist strategy of picking the winners and losers. We picked, I believe it was Intel who we picked to start, manufacturing chips in America. We gave them money to start building manufacturing in America. And I believe they did actually, I did believe they did hold up to their commitments. But what Trump did is actually way better. He's gotten multiple companies to start building chips in America through tariffs, not through giving them money, but through threatening their profit margins.
of tariffs, the chips are coming back. Chip makers are all coming back. And I think within a very short period of time, we're going to have maybe even the majority of the chip making in the world will be right in the United States, where it should have been all along. But because we had people that didn't believe in tariffs, they believed in them, they didn't know how to use them. We would have had nobody leaving our country right now. And instead, you have almost 100% of the chips are made in Taiwan.
Mm-hmm.
It's so disgraceful. The good news is it's all coming back. Yeah, please.
Yes, and because of the 100% on tariff on chips and semiconductors, Taiwan manufacturing companies have decided to bring some of their manufacturing over to the United States. So that's one of the main reasons why Trump's tariffs on chips and semiconductors work way better than Biden's CHIPS Act.
Mr. President,
The
Mr.
gentleman in
President.
the back.
Thank you, Mr. President. I want to just follow up on Venezuela.
Or chips.
In these talks with Maduro, is there anything that he could say or do that would allow you to feel like he could stay with your support? Is there anything that he could say that you would be, okay, you can stay with your
It's hard to say that. You know, the question's a little bit tricky. I don't think it was meant to be tricky. It's just that, look, he's done tremendous damage to our country, primarily because of drugs, but really because we have that problem with other countries too. But more than any other country, the release of prisoners into our country has been a disaster. He's emptied his jails. Others have done that also. He has not been good to the United States. So we'll see what happens. At a certain period of time, I'll be talking to him.
Mr. President, can I just follow up? You mentioned your voice and you were shouting about trade. Which country in particular upset you? Was it India?
No. A country wanted to try and renegotiate the terms of their trade deal, and I wasn't happy about
Well,
it.
which country was it? People want to know.
Why would I say that to you? I can't believe it.
Mr. President,
If I was to take a guess, it would probably be the UK. If I was to take a guess, because they've been saying that they wanted to renegotiate some terms in the trade deal that their parliament even sent through. Now they sent it through, and now they're looking at it. They're like, "Oh, could make things just a little bit better here or here." So I'm just, giving you guys my guess. I believe it's the UK.
On the World Cup, if you would, Seattle and the World Cup. The new mayor-elect of Seattle is a Democratic socialist. Seattle has six,
or beyond. I watched her.
right. Seattle has six.
That's more than socialism.
Right. Seattle has 6 World Cup games. How close are you going to be watching that city with the crime in that city?
Well, if we think, and I'll have to speak to Johnny about this, but if we think that the mayor of LA is incompetent, everybody knows that. You know that I was there, I guess, 2 years ago, and we got all the federal permits taken care of, far more complex than the state permits and the city permits. And Lee Zeldin, who's a superstar, got everything taken care of. The toughest part, having to do with the fires, that should have never happened. If they let the water come in, it wouldn't have happened, right? Do you know that people aren't building their houses yet? I mean, can you imagine that? And if we didn't go in early on, Chris, I think we can say it. Well, the head of their police department said it. They were unable to handle. You would have had, not only did you have the fires, but you would have had total insurrection in Los Angeles. And if we didn't go in, and the head of, the gentleman, he said it, and he said it strongly, said we could not have done it without the federal government. We did a great job. If we think there's going to be a sign of any trouble, I would ask Johnny to move that to a different city. We have a lot of cities that would love to have it, number one, and we'll do it very safely. So if we think there's a problem in Seattle where you have a very, very liberal/communist mayor, I would say, certainly beyond just liberal. I watched her over the weekend. Wow. That's another beauty.
Yeah, Seattle kind of had their own little Mondani situation where, it was a moderate Democrat that was running against a Democrat socialist. And the Democrat socialist won in Seattle, which is very tough for them. So, hey, Seattle, look, God bless. Good luck with that.
We got there. But if we think there's going to be a problem, Johnny, can I say we will move? I don't think you're going to have this problem, but we're going to move the event to someplace where it's going to be appreciated and safe.
Yeah, well, I think safety and security is the #1 priority for a successful World Cup. We can see today that people have trust in the United States when we see at the ticket sales, we sold, record-breaking figures of tickets, almost 2 million already sold out of 2 million that we've been selling. This is because people, they know that they will be coming here and they will experience a safe and secure World Cup. This is the responsibility, of course, of the government, of Secretary Norm, of everyone. And obviously, we will, we will discuss, we are working together, we have a task force for this, and we must ensure that all fans coming from abroad or being here, they can experience a celebration of coming together of the sport, and this goes only with 100% safety.
Hey, and shout out to our man Hellbat for starting us off. He says, fun fact, when the Vikings discovered Greenland and Iceland, they named them opposites of what they were to confuse their enemy. Yeah, I did hear about that one, but shout out to my man Hellbat for dropping the fun fact of the day. And shout out to Steph. Appreciate the support, sis. Welcome in to Carl G and Judy. Hey, all right. Hey, welcome to those guys. Appreciate the support, guys.
We are communicating with all these mayors about what their responsibilities are. They know the safety and security of these events is their number one responsibility, and we'll be there. The president's always there to keep Americans safe, but he also makes sure the people that know their responsibilities and that they're prepared to host these events and do so in a safe manner.
Is there a timeline that would have
There was some news this morning from an Axios report that Senator Ted Cruz was laying the groundwork for a potential 2028 presidential run. Could I get your reaction to? Could you see yourself supporting?
Well, he's a friend of mine. I mean, I haven't spoken to him about it. It's a little early. It's 3.25 years. That's a long time, but he's a very good guy. He's a very good friend of mine. You remember we had quite a campaign against Ted, and it worked out quite nicely. Let's see, where are we? Oh, we're the other. But I'm not that surprised to hear that.
I don't know. Ted Cruz might want to hang his hat up when it comes to, running for president. He kind of screwed himself with that Tucker Carlson interview. Actually, every hit against Ted Cruz, you can just replay that Tucker Carlson interview, and it's a wrap for him. So sorry, Ted Cruz, but you could probably blame Tucker Carlson for the reason that you're not a viable presidential candidate.
Mr. President, on the tariff exemptions, you had some recently on a variety of different goods. I'm wondering, are you ruling out going forward no more exemptions on products? You're mentioning a disagreement earlier. So I'm wondering,
we've taken in hundreds of billions of dollars in tariff money. We're going to be issuing dividends later on, somewhere prior to probably in the middle of next year, a little bit later than that, of thousands of dollars for individuals of moderate income, middle income. We're going to pay down debt. We have a lot of money from tariffs. If we didn't have tariffs, this nation would be in serious trouble. And we've taken in tremendous amounts of money. And you know what's more important than that? We've protected our businesses from being raided like we did with the chip business. Now we're bringing them all back. But we had 100% of the chip industry. And then they left. They went mostly to Taiwan and South Korea, but mostly Taiwan. And they have almost 100%. And we're going to have, within a short period of time, a big percentage of the chip business are coming back because of tariffs, because they don't want to pay the tariffs, because the tariffs will be very steep if they don't come back, and they've committed to come back. As you probably heard, Apple is now up to $700 billion. We have NVIDIA at $600 billion. We have tremendous amounts of money pouring in. Our country has become amazing again and really, really rich again. I will say this. We have a decision we're waiting for. It's a very big decision. The numbers that...
Yeah, so it is Apple, NVIDIA, Taiwanese chip making companies that are all committing billions of dollars to bringing their chip manufacturing back into the U.S. to avoid the 100% tariff that would be on their chips if they did not do so. So shout out to Trump for that one. I mean, he's also pulling off the same success with pharmaceutical companies because he put the same type of tariff on them as well at 100%.
We've taken in, if you talk about investments, is trillions, not with a B, not with an M, millions, but trillions of dollars. I can't imagine having to give that money back. on something that we're allowed to do. And the ones that are fighting us are countries, largely, they're back in countries that have been ripping us off for years, using tariffs to rip us off. And now we're able to defend ourselves. It really is a matter of national security, because economic security is national security. So I think you're going to see another thing happening. I think you'll see food prices. They've come down very substantially since Biden. But I think you're going to see food prices coming down very substantially.
Saudi Arabia, tomorrow you're hosting
Yeah.
Saudi Arabia. Are you planning to sell F-35s to Saudi Arabia?
Yeah.
I mean, and also, are you looking at doing a similar security agreement like you did with
Yeah, no, I am planning on doing
You're
it.
gonna
They
sell
want to
that
buy. They've been a great ally. They've got to like us very much. Look at the Iran situation, what we did in terms of obliterating, we obliterated their nuclear capability. Yeah, I will say that we will be doing that. We'll be selling F-35s. Yeah.
Mr. President, to clarify something you posted on Truth Social last night. You urged House Republicans to vote in favor of this Epstein release bill they're going to vote on tomorrow. I just want to be super clear on your position. Do you want to see that pass the Senate? Would you sign that bill if it gets to your desk?
I do want.
Oh no, hey Gil Castro, if you heard my intro at the beginning, yeah, I kind of started off with the "Is Trump gay?" because I was listening to my man Ian Carroll and I was getting kind of weary. I was like, bro, wait, it could be. It's kind of possible. I mean, his mentor was gay for sure, so who knows? Who knows? Like, it got a little bit convincing. Ian was getting a little bit convincing at the end, so we'll definitely get into that one. But yes, what Trump is doing with the Epstein files is absolutely, thank God, it's a relief. I'll tell you that right now. It's very relieving that he's not just leaving it up to Rohana and Thomas Massie to push these Epstein files out. No, he's doing the initiative himself, also adding on to it. Because let's be real, if he didn't do this and he just left it to them, it would look bad on Trump. So thank you, Trump, for doing this right
Trump
here.
has just saved his presidency from collapsing through these two ingenious moves. Trump looked at risk of losing control of the GOP in recent weeks as a major split took place within the MAGA movement, where previously hardline supporters, including Marjorie Taylor Greene, began openly criticizing Trump, and influential political commentators called for the end of MAGA and the start of the America First movement. This rift jeopardized Republicans' prospects in the midterms, and so in a critical bid to secure his power, Trump made two incredible moves. First, he addressed the people's biggest criticism by sharply changing his position on the Epstein files, urging support for a House bill to release all records, saying that Epstein is a distraction for his administration and that once everything is public, the country can finally move on. Then, Trump single-handedly reunited the Republican Party, as when he was asked by a reporter to disavow the leader of the America First movement, Trump surprisingly refused and instead said that people have the right to choose for themselves, which has been received by many as a public peace overture.
Yeah, I like what you did right there, Trump. I like what you did right there. Stand up for freedom of speech and say, open the floodgates on the Epstein files. I love it. I love it.
Here's what I want. We have nothing to do with Epstein. The Democrats do. All of his friends were Democrats. You look at this Reid Hoffman, you look at Larry Summers, Bill Clinton, they went to his island all the time, and many others, they're all Democrats. All I want for people to recognize a great job that I've done on pricing, on affordability, because we brought prices way down, but they're going way lower, on energy, on ending 8 wars and another one coming pretty soon, I believe. We've done a great job. And I hate to see that deflect from the great job we've done. So I'm all for it. We've already given 50,000 pages. You do know that. Unfortunately, like with the Kennedy situation, with the Martin Luther King situation, not to put Jeffrey Epstein in the same category, but no matter what we give, it's never enough. With Kennedy, we gave everything and it wasn't enough. With Martin Luther King, we gave everything and it's never enough. We've already given, I believe the number is 50,000 pages, 50,000 pages. And it's just a Russia hoax as it pertains to the report.
Yeah, but here's a problem. I mean, you should have gave all of the pages, no matter how much there were. I mean, you gave 50,000 and I mean, that's all right, but it would have been best if you'd have just gave all the pages, everything, all the evidence, all the emails. We don't got to sit here and do all this BS with the voting through Congress and then the Senate. No, you should have just said release all the Epstein files in the first place and not let Pam Bondi and Cash Patel F it all up.
Republicans. Now, I believe that many of the people some of the people that we mentioned are being looked at very seriously for their relationship to Jeffrey Epstein, but they were with him all the time. I wasn't at all. And we'll see what happens. What I just don't want Epstein to do is detract from the great success of the Republican Party, including the fact that the Democrats are totally blamed for the shutdown. You know, they cost our country hundreds of billions of dollars with that, at a lot of inconvenience. So I'm for I don't. They can do whatever they want.
Hey, shout out Laughable Panda for sending in the 100 jewels for the Sunday. Hey, the Sunday for 100 jewels. Appreciate the support, Laughable Panda. And you sent in a high five as well. I appreciate that support.
Give them everything.
Shout out Laughable Panda.
Let the Senate look at it. Let anybody look at it. But don't talk about it too much because honestly, I don't want to take it away from us. It's really a Democrat problem. The Democrats were Epstein's friends, all of them. And it's a hoax. The whole thing is a hoax. And I don't want to take it away from really the greatness of what the Republican Party has accomplished over the last period of time.
The shutdown is now over. Administration officials have said when the shutdown ends, they'll reevaluate the farm.
Oh, my bad. Shout out Laughable Panda for sending the 1,000 jewels, which is either for the GOAT trophy, and shout out for the fireworks for the 3,000 jewels. And hey, I'm sorry, but that is a baller alert. I got to give you that one. Shout out Laughable Panda. That is definitely a baller alert. Appreciate the support.
Farmer relief. Now we have the deal with China.
Appreciate it, Steph.
So is the administration still looking to dish out farmer relief now that the government is back
Yeah,
open?
we want to. I'm always going to help our farmers.
So are you still looking to do
I would do that. Yeah, if they need relief, we'll be there for them. We're going to always be for our farmers.
I mean, Trump already took care of the soybean situation. He got China to start buying 12 million metric tons for this year alone in soybeans. Next year, they're going to increase it, and they're going to increase it the year after that. So Trump's already taking care of at least the soybean farmers that the Dems were, on his ass about, and rightfully so. Now, when it comes to the other farmers, we'll see what comes to that, because some of these farmers kind of just got screwed by a drought or a sickness in the animals. So we're gonna see what we can do about that, or what Trump could do about that, because a lot of that is outside of his control. Just like how the drought that kind of decimated cattle under the Biden administration was out of Biden's control.
Yeah, please.
Mr. President, just speaking of the economic impacts of FIFA and possibly moving to another city, some games if you feel it's crime, is there like a timeline that you would do that? Because these cities, there's sponsorships, there's economic impacts for these communities.
Sure.
Is there?
The governors are going to have to behave. The mayors are going to have to behave. In the case of California, you have a problem. You have high crime, and you have a place that just suffered great fires and everything else, and they didn't do a very good job. And if we didn't go in from the crime standpoint, you would have had a disaster. It was not going to be handled properly.
I mean, they were dropping like bricks and stuff on ICE vehicles, and then they were shocked when the National Guard came in. It was absolutely crazy. But shout out to my man Daniel Castro. He said, Dems won't be laughing, about to be put on blast. Oh, yeah. When these Epstein files come out, it's on. Now, hey, because look, I'm not really believing the whole Trump is gay thing, but I'm gonna be real with you. Finding out about a whole bunch of pedophiles is way more important than figuring out that Trump is gay. Sure, will it be crazy and hilarious for a while? Of course. But what's more important, Trump being gay or catching these pedophiles? And then let's be real, like if Trump is gay and he didn't did anything pedophilic, then whatever. We're still going to joke about it, but it's not going to be as important as, the billionaire pedophiles. I would hope the billionaire pedophiles would be more important.
It wasn't able to be. The head of the police said without the federal government, they could not have done it. So here's the story. I love Los Angeles. if they want help during this, I would love to send in National Guard or whoever's necessary to help them. I want it to be great. I'd love it to be in Los Angeles. I love the place. It's a natural for Los Angeles. If we think there's going to be crime, if we are obstructed by the governor, and maybe he won't obstruct, maybe it'll be great. But I'd love him for him to call and say, we'd like to have some extra help. Because if there's even a hint of a problem, we want to get in there before the problem occurs. We want to make it totally safe for Johnny and FIFA and all of the great people that are going to be there. And I think that's going to happen. I would be honored to help California if they're going to have a problem. And if they think they're going to have a problem, they should say so. We can be in there in 24 hours notice and do a great job.
Mr. President, year, by the end of the year, by the end of the first quarter.
Well, I think this, if they would tell us now, they're not going to have a problem. Because if we go in, they don't have a problem. Look at D.C. There's no crime in D.C. anymore. And D.C. was a mess. If they want us to go in, I'd like them to tell us right now. But if we go in, there will be no problem. There will be no crime.
What's the message then to local businesses who are considering sponsoring?
Tell your governor to ask for federal help. We'd love to help them.
Also potentially launching strikes in Mexico or putting American troops or American personnel into Mexico to deal with the
Would I
cartels.
launch strikes in Mexico to stop drugs? It's okay with me. Whatever we have to do to stop drugs. Mexico is, look, I looked at Mexico City over the weekend. There's some big problems over there. If we had to, would we do there what we have done to the waterways? There's almost no drugs coming into our waterways anymore.
No.
Isn't it that much?
Now, it does look like there is a coup going on in Mexico. Yes, you heard me right. There is possibly an uprising going on in Mexico. They're waving one-piece flags for some reason, which is a sign of overthrowing the government. Like, who would knew that One Piece would grow to be a sign of overthrowing the government? It was just an anime. But look where we're at. And if you don't know, check out this clip.
All right, I want to hit the Mexico, and I'll go deep dive tomorrow. It's ongoing. It's spread all over the country. It's far overdue. Obviously, Trump is involved. He's got the CIA in Mexico and in Venezuela. The two partners trying to overthrow them. Scheinbaum's terrible. But don't give credit to the CIA. Mexico's been revolting for a long time. That was an easy color revolution. The question is, what do they put in after? Millions. Our news, though, Trump doesn't control it all. It's like, thousands. No, millions protest. Millions. Show that clip. That's got to be 500,000 alone right there. It's all over Mexico. They know the government's protecting cartels. Scheinbaum says leave them alone as they murder and kill under the actual real government. Oh, shit. Oh, shit. Oh, shit. Look at that in Mexico. The footage of them, the police attacking people and the crowds grab them and drag them off. They tear down the barriers. And you got Mexico engulfed with the police trying to attack peaceful crowds, so they overrun and tear down the fences and storm the palace like the Bastille, the French Revolution, and it's all over Mexico. And they go, it's the CIA. I'm sure the CIA is trying to manipulate it, but no, that's the people. And it's all about what's about to happen in Venezuela. As Trump cuts off the money and the cartels. Remember when Trump first got in, they said, New York Times, if he cuts the money and bans U.S. banks laundering money, that'll hurt the economy. New York Times. He's done that. He's cutting off the CIA drug dealing. He's going after the Democrats' piggy bank. Another great thing he's doing. Do I totally support regime change? I don't trust it's too dangerous, but I get where he's going. This is real. And he's backing the people of Venezuela and Mexico that are under tyranny and total election fraud. Big moves are happening, ladies and gentlemen, and we'll be here chronicling it all.
Like 85%?
It is, sir.
I don't know who the 15% would be.
Yep.
It wouldn't be you.
No, that's for sure.
No, I think it's been,
Tons and tons of
you would say
drugs.
that's a big signal.
Absolutely.
We have almost no drugs coming into our country by the sea, by, the water.
Sorry, guys. What I was pretty much trying to say to you is that, yeah, they're pretty much going against their government because they found out that, yes, the lady that is running Mexico is actually a puppet for the cartel. And I mean, come on now. We all knew that. I mean, let's be real. We all kind of knew that. We ain't want to say it out loud. We ain't want to admit it. We thought that the woman in charge was going to bring change, but nope, it was just more of the same. Cartel corruption.
And you know why, okay? I mean, it's pretty obvious. Would I do that on the land cars? I would look, every boat we knock out, we save 25,000 American lives, not to mention the destruction of families. These families are decimated forever. The mother, the father, the children, they never recover really from it. You know, when you lose somebody like the way they live, if you lose them, but the way they die is horrible. So when we knock out a boat and we save 25,000 lives, that's great. Now, do I feel the same way about the corridors that they use? We know every one of them. We have every one of those corridors under major surveillance. We have nobody coming in through our southern border, but we know exactly how they get their things here, how they get the drugs here, fentanyl, cocaine. Colombia has cocaine factories where they make cocaine. Would I knock out those factories? I would be proud to do it personally. I didn't say I'm doing it, but I would be proud to do it because.
And hopefully you address Congress before you do so. Like, I understand they are a designated terrorist nation, but it is our neighbor. I mean, they are in the vicinity. It's not like bombing the Houthis over there in Yemen. It's not really the same. I'm pretty sure we're going to need some type of approval from Congress, and we just can't fly over there and bomb the shit out of them. Well, I don't know. They are a terrorist organization, so maybe we can.
Going to save millions of lives by doing it.
Would you only do it with Mexico's permission, though?
I wouldn't answer that question. I've been speaking to Mexico. They know how I stand.
That's funny.
We're losing hundreds of thousands of people to drugs. So now we've stopped the waterways, but we know every route. We know every route. We know the addresses of every drug lord. We know their address. We know their front door. We know everything about every one of them. They're killing our people. That's like a war. Would I do it? I'd be proud to. I'd probably go into Congress and say, hey, and you know what? The Democrats and the Republicans would both agree, unless they're crazy. And they are a little crazy on the Democrat side. But we have lost hundreds of thousands of people a year, death. And that's not talking about family destruction. That's talking about that. And much of it comes through Mexico. So let me just put it this way. I am not happy with Mexico, okay? Thank you very much.
I mean, yeah, let's be real. Almost every Latin American country besides El Salvador, and like I said, I'm not even 100% sure about that, is controlled by the cartel in some way, shape, or form, or just all the way through. It is what it is. But all right, guys, we're going to go ahead and go to the right side of media with Sean Hannity, and then we're going to go ahead and look over who are the key figures mentioned in the new Epstein emails. So we're going to get into that as well. Don't worry, we ain't dodging around here. All right, guys, let's get right into it.
Begin with something that we're calling a socialist contagion.
Yep.
It's ripping through the entire Democratic Party. It's got no end in sight. Take a look.
We've run this experiment many times, and the results are always obvious. Here's capitalist South Korea at night from space. Here's socialist North Korea. Yeah.
Dark.
Venezuela traded capitalism for Hugo Chavez's socialism for the 21st century, which turned out to be like socialism in the last century or any century. A mess. It turned one of Latin America's richest countries into one of its poorest.
Yep.
Low wages, high inflation, shortages.
And I was just now telling you how Venezuela fell from the richest country in South America into this crisis. It's socialism. They was doing oh so well through capitalism. But then the socialists came into power that actually came from rich capitalists. That always does seem to be how it works. It's the rich kids that come out want to be socialists for some reason, even though their parents were hardcore capitalists. It's kind of crazy how that works out. I mean, even with Mao, it worked out that way.
Outages, 8 million people fleeing. If you think New York can somehow reinvent this wheel, you're in for a rude awakening.
Arud Awokani said, oh, yeah, Mamdani, best thing for Republicans. Bill Maher, by the way, more of a traditional Democrat, saying something that virtually all Democrats used to believe in. Now, socialism, communism, Marxism, whatever you want to call it, always ends the same way. Unfulfilled promises, more poverty, suffering, misery, and at the end of the day, you will calculate a loss of freedom that you have given up in the name of false security. Now, it is a vile ideology. It's based not in reality. It is.
Now, let's go ahead and let's just read what socialism is so we all have a clear understanding. Socialism is an economic and political theory advocating for collective or governmental ownership. Yeah, you know what? I mean, maybe in the collective side would be cool, but the governmental ownership is absolutely insane. But let's keep it going. And administrating of the means of production and distribution of goods with an emphasis on social ownership over private ownership. It is often seen as a system that prioritizes society as a whole, seeking to provide for the needs of all people, and is considered a left-wing ideology. Socialists aim for an equitable distribution of wealth and material resources through policies like free healthcare, education, and housing. Well, I mean, it sounds good on paper, but it never really does say who's going to pay for this stuff. I mean, it is what it is. And then it kind of seems like you kind of got to bleed out the private owners to even make socialism work.
Has resulted in tens of millions.
Well, that's just me. That's just me. He's like, come on, man. How is a country supposed to make money if they have sanctions put on them by America? That is actually a really good point, to be quite honest. I mean, shoot, look how look how Russia's faring. Look how Iran's faring because we got sanctions put on them. So you're right. You're right. We did kind of sink their whole socialist movement before it even started through sanctions, but come on now. There were other socialist movements that started off without us even having to do anything, and it got sunk. I mean, the last time I heard a socialist working out was the guy with the mustache. That's the last time I ever heard of socialism actually working out for a country.
The deaths worldwide, but
believe it or
it's not stopping Democrats in New York City from easily electing an anti-Semitic radical with extremist ties. We affectionately call him Zoran Kami Marxist Mamdani. In fact, now you have New York Governor Kathy Hochul. She's now bowing at the altar of Mamdani, eager to support him in any way he needs and wants. She knows what's happening in the Democratic Party. She is the governor in name only in the state of New York. Meanwhile, just look at Democrats in Seattle, in Washington, who picked a 40-year-old socialist, by the way, still financially being supported by mommy and daddy, to be the next mayor over the incumbent Democrat. In Maine, Democrats there are lining up behind a pro-Antifa communist lunatic running for the Senate, who until recently had a Nazi tattoo. Even the House Minority Leader, Hakeem Jeffries.
Hold on. So Dem Senate candidate embraces Antifa super soldier label. I mean, he could just be playing. He could just be playing into some jokes or whatever. Let's be real.
Recently had a Nazi tattoo. Even the House Minority Leader, Hakeem Jeffries, he is now currently facing a primary challenge from a 27-year-old socialist BLM organizer, friend, and supporter of Mamdani himself. And Trump hater Dan Goldman. He could also be facing a very serious challenge from the left. And let's not forget AOC's thirst for power. Chucky Schumer's days, they are numbered. That is a fact. And meanwhile, a socialist community organizer is also challenging. Look at this in Los Angeles, Karen Bass. I didn't know it was possible to challenge.
It's so funny. I mean, he's kind of making fun of like, the youth is kind of eating the, I would say real with you, the establishment Dems. Yes, the youth. I mean, the guys who are 27, 35, who can actually get into politics or now seasoned in politics. So you can get into it in your early 20s. But yeah, the guys who are now getting up there in the ranks, who's now testing the older guys. I don't know. It's kind of funny that Hannity's making fun of them when, the Democrats are next. Like, Hannity, believe it or not, yeah, we're going to do the same thing to the Republican Party. Yes, it's going to be the millennials, Gen Z guys. Yeah, we're going to take them over. We're going to take you guys over. We're going to make sure you guys and your warmongering passion get out of power. And we're going to make sure you guys and your Well, lobbying power through the oil companies and other companies as well also get taken out. We're coming for you guys next, so don't get comfortable. You can laugh at the Dems because it is pretty funny how they're getting taken over by socialists, but y'all about to get taken over by populists. So prepare for that.
Mayor Bass from the left, but apparently here is the moment we're living in. Even Spartacus himself is now calling for a political mutiny to make room for all the new young socialists that now are taking over his party. They're all bowing at the altar, trying to get on board that train. Take a look.
Chuck Schumer's generation, Nancy Pelosi's generation, John Lewis's generation, they have so much to be proud of. It is time, though, for new leadership. The other generations, X, Millennials, Z, it's time for us to step up. The stage is waiting for us to lead, not just the party, but the nation right now.
Now it's socialism, Marxism taking full hold of the Democratic Party, and they're catering to an increasingly radical base. They are also turning away scores and scores of voters who do not pass the political purity test. Got to be politically pure in your socialism, Marxism. Take a look.
What happened to the Democrats? Why did they lose so many young men?
People often think I have the answer. My nutshell is...
No, we know you don't.
Generally, they were very anti-normal guys. Like if you...
What do you mean normal guys?
It's okay.
Are you saying there's only one way to be a guy?
If that girl's hot, hey, that girl's hot. I want to drink. I want to party. I like frat parties. I like that. That was all bad. Like, and to be honest, the white guy, and this sounds, but was the bad guy, became the bad guy. And there's a lot of, white dudes who are like, well, I'm not the bad guy. Like, what are you getting mad at me for? I wasn't here for colonialism or any of the stuff that you guys are complaining about.
Now, Dave Portnoy, a guy's guy, except when he's around his favorite dog, Miss Peaches. Funniest stuff you'll ever see on the internet. Now, many Democrats are just simply living in another stratosphere. They're in their little bubble. They're shielded from reality, from their obsession with trans kids to their support for emptying prisons, to their support for unfettered, unvetted illegal immigration, to their constant hatred of all things Donald J. Trump. It really is an alternate universe. You're watching a movement that we've never witnessed in this country unfold right before your eyes. That's why you see unhinged riots just like this one all around the country against ICE agents, this one in North Carolina, and they're just trying to do their job, apprehend people that did not respect our laws, our borders, our sovereignty.
And speaking of ICE agents, I need you guys to be on the lookout for something, because I'm going to show this about later on in the stream, but there's been AI ICE arrest videos. So these guys are making AI videos of ICE arrests, and they're making it look like the worst thing ever. And when I tell you the worst thing, I'm talking about mothers crying because their babies are being stripped from them, and it's on video, but it's not real. Yeah. So yes, there's been AI ICE arrests that are actually fake, and they're trying to do this to sow, well, I'll be real with you, social tension between the people and ICE, and pretty much going to start. And this is why actually people are going out and attacking ICE, trying to dox them, because they're actually are seeing these AI ICE arrest videos, and they're taking action without even knowing if they're real or not. So yeah, if you're seeing one of these videos, make sure you run it through AI. Because sadly, I mean, sometimes only AI can catch AI unless the little sword thing pops up.
Take a look.
Oh, Jesus. Calm down.
Very sad, unfortunately, for so many on the left. Trump derangement syndrome, it is driving them crazy. In fact, a psychotherapist told Fox News that this is a real pathology plaguing 75% of his patients. Wow, that's a lot of space that Donald Trump takes up in people's minds. But I do have good news for all of those that do suffer from TDS. There is nothing to fear. Donald Trump is doing the job that he said he would do, securing the border. He's evicting criminal, illegal aliens that actually didn't obey our laws. Yes, improving the economy, laying the foundation for great success, lowering inflation, lowering gas prices, draining the swamp, and he is making the world a safer, more peaceful place. That's it. That's what he ran on. That's what he's doing. That's the reality. Hey,
But all right, guys, let's go ahead and get into the Epstein files, because this guy on Sky News did some pretty extensive research on it, and or an extensive deep dive. So shout out to Sky News for this one. Let's see what's going on with it.
So here they are. 20,000 documents from Jeffrey Epstein's estate have been released for all to see, and we've been through them. They feature Donald Trump, the former prince, Andrew, Peter Mandelson, and of course, Epstein's girlfriend and co-conspirator, Ghislaine Maxwell, along with many other people. Here's a deep dive into Epstein's world. Let's begin with Donald Trump. The emails relating to him span about a decade, up until just before Epstein's death in jail in 2019. It's important to stress that there are no emails from or to Donald Trump. They're all from Epstein to others. They give a remarkable...
Oh, yeah, and shout out to Kane Stock for the 10 jewels. And shout out to That One Joe for the 100. Appreciate the support, guys. All right, let's get right back into it.
New insight. Epstein claiming a closeness with Trump, who, remember, is on record as saying he disassociated himself with Epstein years earlier in the early 2000s. Let's begin in 2011, 5 years before Trump was elected president for the first time. I want to show you this one from Jeffrey Epstein to his girlfriend and co-conspirator Ghislaine Maxwell in April 2011. It was written not long after he'd been released from house arrest for having solicited prostitution from a minor, and he was trying to rebuild his reputation. Epstein says to Maxwell, "I want you to realize that the dog that hasn't barked is Trump. Virginia spent hours at my house with him. He has never once been mentioned. Police chief, etc. I'm 75% there." Now, Virginia is Virginia Giuffre, one of Epstein's victims and the woman in that now infamous photo with Andrew Mountbatten Windsor. We'll come to him later because there are new emails between Andrew and Epstein. Now, Giuffre, who took her own life earlier this year, never accused Trump of any wrongdoing, but Epstein is alleging that Trump and she spent hours together at Epstein's house. The White House has hit back. Listen briefly to Trump's press secretary on this.
Ms. Giuffre maintained, and God rest her soul, that she maintained that there was nothing inappropriate she ever witnessed, that President Trump was always extremely professional and friendly to her.
Now, as the years pass, the tone of the emails evolves. We get a glimpse into how the nature of the relationship, from Epstein's perspective, appears to have changed. How Epstein began to believe that he had a hold over Trump. These were the years leading up to Trump's election victory in 2016. Now, December 2015, this is just under a year before Trump won the 2016 election, and he is gaining momentum as a candidate. On the 12th of December 2015, Epstein sent this email to a reporter from the New York Times. Subject line, Trump. "Have them ask my houseman about Donald almost walking into the door, leaving his nose print on the glass as young women were swimming in the pool. And he was so focused, he walked straight into the door."
I'm crying. Well, yeah, I guess I kind of dispelled some of the gay rumors. I mean, bro was so focused on the women, that man was damn near was walking towards the window like he was walking into heaven or something. Well, that's actually kind of funny.
It's not clear when Epstein was alleging that incident had happened, but the email suggests two things. First, a hint at the close association between Epstein and Trump, historically at least, and second, that Epstein is seeking at this point to discredit Trump. In the same email exchange with the reporter, Epstein says, "Would you like photos of Donald?"
And now if you're thinking, S.E.T, those were kids out there. No, that's not most likely might not be the case. Not saying there may not have been kids at that pool party, but Jeffrey Epstein usually enticed these guys with, like, honestly, at age models, maybe barely legal, or at least in their 20s. And he also had connection into the modeling industries through, Luke John Burnell, the guy who was at Abercrombie and Finch, who ended up getting caught for pedophilia to molesting little boys, or molesting the models the models, the male models, and who also somehow, end up unaliving himself in prison. So that he had a pipeline of models coming in through that connection alone. And I'm talking about not just, the little boys that Luke John Burnell had access to, but women as well. And also because he knew, what was his name? He lives over here in New Albany in Columbus, Ohio. Lex Wexler. Yeah, Lex Wexler. Yeah, he owned Victoria's Secret. He also pipeline models to Epstein as well. So he had two connections to be able to get those women over there in that pool setting, which is still pretty disturbing.
And girls in bikinis in my kitchen. Now, as time passes towards the cusp of Trump winning the White House in 2016, we get a new perspective on what Epstein was thinking and writing about Trump while he was on the rise to the presidency. There are swathes of emails between Epstein and the writer Michael Wolff. They detail how Epstein was being advised how he could use his relationship with Trump to his own benefit. Look at this one from Michael Wolff to Epstein in December 2015. Subject, heads up. Wolff writes about Trump, if he says he hadn't been on the plane or to the house, then that gives you a valuable PR and political currency. You can hang him in a way that potentially generates a positive benefit for you. Or if it really looks like he could win, you could save him, generating a debt. And then Michael Wolff again to Epstein in October 2016, just before the presidential election. He suggests Epstein could finish Trump. Subject line, now could be.
I don't know. Somebody need to check Michael Wolff and see if that man's an asset of some sort. Well, a CIA asset, Israeli asset, don't matter. Because the man's like the way he talks is sound like he's a little too it's honestly seems like he has too much experience in collecting assets. He seems a bit too knowledgeable about doing that.
The time. Wolff writes, there is an opportunity to come forward this week and talk about Trump in such a way that could garner you great sympathy and help finish him. Interested? Trump wins the election in November 2016. Look at this. Was Epstein in Trump Tower just days after? On the 13th of November 2016, a woman called Linda Stone asks Epstein, you still in Paris? Half an hour later, he replies, Trump Tower. It's not clear who, if anyone, he was meeting at Trump Tower. If he was actually there, there are public areas within the building. Remember, Trump says he cut ties with Epstein many years earlier. We asked the White House if Jeffrey Epstein was in Trump Tower on that date. In response, White House spokeswoman Abigail Jackson said, these emails prove literally nothing. Epstein continues to write about and ridicule Trump during his first term in office.
Obviously.
Take this from Epstein to Larry Summers in 2017. Summers was Treasury Secretary under Bill Clinton. Epstein writes, your world does not understand how dumb he really is. He will blame everyone around him for bad results. Remember, we don't know the full context of these emails. Here's another from March 2018. And in this case, the name of the person emailing Epstein has been redacted. The anonymous person says, it will all blow over. They're really just trying to take down Trump and doing whatever they can to do that. Epstein replies, yes, thanks. It's wild because I am the one able to take him down. Now, this email has caught a lot of attention.
Oh, I'm like, yeah, when you say something like that, you're thinking, all right, yeah, so what you got? Because that's why the whole Epstein files need to be released, because hopefully whatever you got comes out with that release. Because, man, if you're talking about I'm the only one that can take Trump down, you know what? Maybe the information that could take Trump down died with Epstein for all we know.
It's from January 2019, in the middle of Trump's first term as president. It's about membership at Trump's Mar-a-Lago club in Florida. Redacted worked at Mar-a-Lago. She was the one that accused Prince Andrew, Epstein wrote. Trump said, he asked me to resign. Never remember, ever. Of course, he knew about the girls, as he asked Ghislaine to stop. So what does all this mean? Well, the redacted name is Virginia Giuffre. We know that she worked at Mar-a-Lago, and she is the woman who accused Prince Andrew. The meaning isn't quite clear. We don't know precisely what Epstein is claiming when he says Trump knew about the girls. In response to the release of the documents, the White House said the fact remains that President Trump kicked Jeffrey Epstein out of his club decades ago for being a creep, to his female employees, including Giuffre. Remember, too, that Trump is on record as saying that he cut his relationship with Epstein because he thought he was poaching his female employees.
We took people that worked for me, and I told him don't do it anymore, and he did it. And I said, stay the hell out of here.
Now let's focus on the man formerly known as Prince Andrew. In his infamous Newsnight interview in November 2019, Andrew claimed that after he and Epstein met in New York in 2010, he was never in contact with him. But these emails between the pair are from the following year, March 2011. Remember, this is the time just after Epstein had been released from house arrest for having solicited prostitution from a minor. 3 months earlier, that now infamous photo of Epstein and Andrew was taken in New York's Central Park. Andrew's involvement with Epstein was headlined globally, and we now have an insight into Andrew's state of mind at the time. The email chain includes startling allegations. The Mail on Sunday had emailed asking for responses to their story, which alleged sordid sexual encounters involving Andrew, Maxwell, the former Israeli Prime Minister Ehud Barak, and others. We've asked Mr. Barak for a response to the mention of his name. The emails get forwarded a few times, including from Ghislaine Maxwell to...
I mean, hold on. You asked an ex-Israeli prime minister? Yeah, you did not get no answers, I bet. I almost guarantee it.
Epstein, and then from Epstein to an account labeled The Duke. Andrew appears to reply, "What? I don't know any of this. How are you responding?" Epstein replies, and it's full of typos. "Just got it 2 minutes ago. I asked lawyers to send a letter. Not sure. It is so salacious and ridiculous. I'm not sure how to respond. The only person she didn't have sex with was Elvis." The subject title of this email is Ghislaine Maxwell. Then Andrew says, "Please make sure that every statement or legal letter states clearly that I am not involved and that I knew and know nothing about any of these allegations.
Oh, yeah, you're screwed.
I can't take any more of this, my end." Later that same year, 2011, emails show that Epstein was talking about Prince Andrew. He says Buckingham Palace would love it if Virginia Giuffre was proven to be a liar. Epstein emails a publicist. "I think a great opportunity has arisen." He goes on, "The girl who accused Prince Andrew can easily be proven to be a liar. I think Buckingham Palace would love it. You should task someone to investigate the girl that has caused the Queen's son all this aggro. I promise you, she is a fraud. You and I will be able to go to Ascot for the rest of our lives." But in trying to discredit Virginia Giuffre, Epstein appears to confirm that the photo of her with Andrew is real. Andrew has previously claimed that the photo could have been doctored. "Yes, she was on my plane, and yes, she had her picture taken with Andrew, as many of my employees have. I have never misled you. This girl is a total liar." Let's skip forward now to January 2015. Epstein and Maxwell appearing to be in private brainstorming responses to each other to a legal and media storm. They're firefighting, and the email exchanges are written in haste. Maxwell to Epstein, the 10th of January 2015. "I have to distance myself from you in statement 2, and they need me to say I was not aware of massage with Andrew in my house. These things, they have to stay, along with meeting, redacted, and rebutting these allegations. I need it ASAP." Finally, look at this. When President Trump was on a state visit to the UK in 2019, Steve Bannon is emailing Epstein. Bannon, remember, is the former White House strategist fired by Trump earlier in his first term. He and Epstein are commenting on Trump's physical proximity to Andrew in video of the state visit. "Prince Andrew and Trump today. Too funny," Epstein wrote.
Remember, Steve Bannon, bro, he has like I don't know, I think what he said, a 24-hour interview or a 24-hour little documentary with Jeffrey Epstein, asking this man all types of questions and all that, and he has yet to drop not one clip of it. Not one clip of 24 goddamn hours. A bit wild. I mean, bro, at least give us a teaser.
Then, recall Prince Andrew's accuser came out of Mar-a-Lago. Bannon replied, "I can't believe nobody is making you the connective tissue." This is just days before Epstein's final arrest. Andrew Mountbatten Windsor continues to face scrutiny over his friendship with Epstein, but has always vigorously denied all of the accusations against him in relation to the deceased paedophile. Now, Peter Mandelson, he is the man who lost his job as UK ambassador here in Washington because of his links with Epstein, revealed in a previous tranche of documents. We now know that he had contact with Epstein as late as 2016, according to these new emails. This is much later than known before now. Previously released emails show they maintained contact until 2010, a direct exchange between Epstein and Mandelson on the 6th of November, 2016. The email is started by Epstein, 63 years old, you made it. Mandelson replies, just, I've decided to extend my life by spending more of it in the US.
Okay.
Later in the chain, Donald...
Now, Peter Mandelson, I think that is Miriam Mandelson, the person who gave Donald Trump like $100 million to be the most avid supporter of the most ardent supporter of Israel, which, you know, I mean, hey, he did a lot for him, I'll tell you that. So yes, this is the deceased husband of Muriel Edelson, and I mean, they do own a lot of, you know, it's actually pretty stereotypical that I'm saying this, but they own casinos. Yes, casinos.
In White House, will he get there? Mandelson writes. And then what appears to be a separate thought, yes, without Andrew, it would not have gone nuclear. It's not clear quite what Mandelson is referring to. Mandelson then goes on to reference his relationship with his own husband. Epstein writes to Mandelson, I was right in your staying with Ronaldo. Ronaldo is Mandelson's husband. Mandelson replies, did you advise me to stay with R? Such a handful, but loyal and never embarrassing. And so it's clear that privately, Epstein and Mandelson are discussing Mandelson's husband. And this is an indication of just how close they were as recently as 2016. Now, I've messaged Lord Mandelson asking for comment. He's seen the message, but has not responded. Mandelson spoke to Sky in May this year, expressing regret.
My knowledge of him is
okay,
something,
good, different guy. I thought you were talking about the Mandelsons.
I wish I'd never met him in the first place.
Uh-oh.
So there are thousands.
Uh-oh. Wait, but you was texting this man. Uh-oh. Well, he's cooked. He's cooked.
Expressing regret.
My knowledge of him is something that I regret. I wish I'd never met him in the first place.
So there are thousands, tens of thousands of documents in the release. There are also hundreds, if not thousands, more names referenced. A mind-boggling range of presidents, prime ministers, princes, high-powered financiers, and powerful business people. Of course, association does not make them guilty of anything. These emails were initially released by the Democrats here in the United States on the House committee. The committee then released all 20,000 documents. It is a political battle ongoing, and the walls appear to be closing in on Donald Trump's White House.
Yeah, I mean, but hey, he says he's going to release the full Epstein file, so let's see where that goes. But all right, now, let's go ahead and get over to the left side of media with CNN. Now, white nationalist Nick Fuentes throws MAGA movement into turmoil. Well, I wouldn't say Nick Fuentes. I say some reason talking to Nick Fuentes is just like banned. You can't do it or you're not MAGA, which is absolutely ridiculous.
One of the things that has been very illustrative of the cracks is the Nick Fuentes issue and the fact that Tucker Carlson hosted Nick Fuentes, who is a white supremacist and a racist and anti-Semite. I mean, all of the ists and the isms, that's what this guy is. And if you just go online and look at some of the things he says, and you'll understand just what I'm talking about. The president, I asked Marjorie Taylor Greene about him, and she just said it's up to Tucker, and she distanced herself from his views. President Trump did not distance himself from Nick Fuentes' views. Listen to what he said.
Whoa. Well, sis, that is a wild jump. Dana Bash, you should be ashamed of yourself for saying that. Really? He said that, all right, look, he can talk to whoever he wants to. I'm not going to tell Tucker Carlson or condemn him for talking to somebody that y'all disagree with. That's not Trump supporting Nick Fuentes. So come on now.
We've had some great interviews with Tucker Carlson, but you can't tell him who to interview. I mean, if he wants to interview Nick Fuentes, I don't know much about him, but if he wants to do it, get the word out. Let him, people have to decide. Ultimately, people have to decide.
Please gonna lie like that.
With Nick Fuentes and Kanye West at Mar-a-Lago.
No, you just gonna lie like that, though.
which he was reminded of. I want to show this. This is Nick Fuentes saw what the president said or didn't say, and he said this. Thank you, Mr. President.
I mean, it's pretty remarkable. I mean, for just Trump to say, I don't know who he is come on. I mean, this is the leader of his party. This is someone who consumes so much media. And this is something that has been dividing his base so intensely since Tucker Carlson had this interview. So that is just doesn't seem any bit of reality, but also, I guess, not a total surprise. But
I'm sorry, but hold on. Is he saying that there's no way that Trump doesn't know about like the views of Nick Fuentes? And yes, I did see this post. Nick Fuentes did say, thank you, Mr. President. So it is what it is. I mean, that doesn't mean that Trump supports Nick Fuentes or that he believes in everything that Nick Fuentes believes. And I think we can all if you actually listen to Nick Fuentes before, well, I mean, you're not going to agree with everything the man says, but let's be real. When it comes to this whole America First message, I mean, we can all get down with that. Now, as far as the Stalin's cool and Hitler got aura, he could go somewhere else with that, but hey, that's him.
Nick Fuentes saw what the president said or didn't say, and he said this. Thank you, Mr. President.
I mean, it's pretty remarkable. I mean, for just Trump to say, I don't know who he is come on. I mean, this is the leader of his party. This is someone who consumes so much media. And this is something that has been dividing his base so intensely since Tucker Carlson had this interview. So that is just doesn't seem any bit of reality, but also, I guess, not a total surprise. But you know, the president also talked about, I had dinner with him and Kanye West. Kanye West has also spewed terrible anti-Semitic rhetoric, just like Nick Fuentes, and Trump didn't seem to.
And if you actually hear the story from Kanye West and Nick Fuentes themselves, Trump literally got up from that dinner angry because he thought he was being set up by Kanye West and Nick Fuentes. Once, you know, I guess his Secret Service or whoever is around him did their little research, they were like, bro, you know, hanging around this guy is toxic. I mean, you're damn near hanging next to like a KKK member. I mean, you might want to, you know, separate. Like, what was it? You might like chilling with David Duke. It's like, you might want to just separate yourself, my man. And that's exactly how he treated Nick Fuentes once he realized what it was. And it was he mainly got up because of Nick Fuentes and left that conversation left that dinner with Nick Fuentes, Kanye, and of course, Trump.
Distance himself from that.
But I think this is indicative of him not wanting to stop the fractures within the MAGA movement that are becoming wider and wider by the day.
Yeah, and if you remember during the campaign, after that dinner with Nick Fuentes and Kanye West at Mar-a-Lago, there was a large freak out within Trump's senior staff trying to put in new protocols. I wrote about this in my book at the time. They were really concerned that people were getting to Trump, and they set up protocols to try to keep those sorts of people away from him. And so this, Jack, to your point, this is convulsing the MAGA movement.
That's why, honestly, I believe that he don't know about Nick Fuentes either. Like, there's people around Trump to make sure that, I ain't gonna lie, and I hate that this is true, but even, I mean, a lot of people know this, but yeah, there's people who try to insulate information, try to keep Trump damn near out of of what's going on in media. Like, they make him, I guess maybe it's to keep him tunnel vision. I guess you could say there's some good in that, but actually there's bad, because they keep certain information that's going on in the media. They keep certain criticism of his policies away from him, because if you really think about it, as soon as Trump actually realized what's going on with the base, he kind of corrects course every time. And we're just sitting there looking at him going like, what the hell is going on? And it's mainly because, well, there's people in his ear that's telling him another thing. I mean, it's telling the complete opposite of what we want. And there's people around him that's making sure what we want is not getting to the president. And sometimes they don't get to him until it's too late.
Conservative.
I mean, we used to have Charlie Kirk to handle that for us, but I mean, look what happened to him.
Wing of the party. And
God rest his soul.
A concern because for Trump and the Republicans, because they've been so united behind him at every step of the way. And we're seeing so many fractures.
Yeah, and exactly. And the question, one of the reasons why it's so important right now is, where is this movement going to go? And the fact that Tucker Carlson has ended up where he is right now, having people like Nick Fuentes and others who are really openly vile in some cases, in other cases, just wholeheartedly America first and only America first, that really poses the question of where it goes.
President Trump last night weighed in.
All right, yeah, shout out to my man Daniel Castro. He says, show them Biden graped or essayed Tara Reid. I think it was Tara Reid or Tara Reid. All right, sure, they ignored it. Yes, they did. And I remember showing that during the election and when everybody was trying to, condemn Trump for, what was it, her name? The crazy lady, CNN said grape is sexy, E. Jean Carroll. So yes, when everybody was believing E. Jean Carroll, I was like, oh, okay, so believe all women? Great. Let's believe all women. That's all I love to hear. All right, what about Tara Reid? So can we believe all women with her and also call Biden an essayer? Or is that outside the realm possibility for you guys? Is it? Because a lot of people don't know about her. But let me see if I can go ahead and find the video that I actually showed of her, because it's a pretty wild thing. But all right.
On a festering issue that has caused
Wild
something of a civil war within the Republican Party.
Here.
It's about neo-Nazi Nick Fuentes and whether it's appropriate for prominent conservative media figures such as Tucker Carlson to platform Fuentes without seriously challenging his false and heinous views. This morning, a board member of the powerful conservative think tank, the Heritage Foundation, widely respected Princeton professor Robert Church, announced his resignation from Heritage, calling for a, quote, full retraction after Heritage president Kevin Roberts had posted a video last month where he defended his friend Tucker Carlson and Tucker's decision to interview Fuentes. After days of this debate within conservative circles, we finally heard from the president on this topic last night.
We've had some great interviews with Tucker Carlson, but you can't tell him who to interview. I mean, if he wants to interview Nick Fuentes, I don't know much about him, but if he wants to do it, get the word out. Let him, people have to decide. Ultimately, people have to decide.
The neo-Nazi Nick Fuentes replied on Twitter or X, quote, "Thank you, Mr. President." So there we have it. President Trump expressing no issues with neo-Nazi Nick Fuentes, who has expressed an affinity for Adolf Hitler and regularly traffics in racist, sexist, anti-Semitic filth. Now, some conservatives, such as Senators Ted Cruz and Senator Mitch McConnell, have criticized Tucker Carlson for his very friendly, lengthy interview with Nick Fuentes. Other Republicans have not been so blunt in their condemnation of Fuentes or Carlson, or even condemned either of them. Vice President J.D. Vance, considered the next leader in the MAGA line of succession, he's no stranger to questions about Republicans espousing anti-Semitism in the last few months, following the young Republicans' texting scandal, which was first reported by Politico, which included one message where one of the young Republicans said, quote, "I love Hitler." Vice President Vance characterized those expressing.
I mean, it's kind of crazy, though, because you guys are freaking out over "I love Hitler" when you got an AG who literally was wishing death on children and death on his opponent's wife. So what's worse, guys? I'm just saying, saying "I love Hitler" is pretty crazy, but wishing death on children is way crazier. So I don't know. If you guys aren't willing to condemn Jay Jones, I don't even want to hear nothing about the young Republicans' text. I'm not willing to hear it. Bro, we literally made one of those guys step down just off saying Indians stink. Y'all can't make a guy step down for wishing death on children. I'm sorry, we're not trying to hear it.
Outrage as, quote, pearl clutching. And the vice president repeatedly referred to the participants as kids, even though the ages of the people in the group range from 18 to 40. Fuentes is, of course, a Nazi of a more loathsome order than those on that text chain, and he has a history of going after not just Jews, but Vice President Vance. He said a number of nasty things about his wife. Vance himself called Fuentes a total loser in a 2024 CBS interview before the election, after Fuentes attacked his wife, Usha Vance, and her Indian heritage. Here's just one of these vile moments. A quick warning to our viewers. This condemnation of Vance by Fuentes is not.
I mean, nah, bro. When I tell you that Nick Fuentes just went completely off on Vance, he brought up the fact that he's told that man a self-hating white man because he dated an Indian instead of his own race. He said that he'd rather Gavin Newsom run because Gavin Newsom got a white family and all that wild stuff. And I was like, damn. It was funny because I'm like, you know what? JD's Vance family setup is a bit more liberal, I guess you would say, than Gavin Newsom, and that's wild to say. But yeah, he was going completely off on JD Vance, and it's mainly because he believes that he's a plant set in by Peter Thiel and the tech oligarchs to try to take over the presidency, to let these guys take over once he's able to get in off the strength of supporting Trump or being Trump's VP. That's the main, I guess, lore around it.
Pleasant to listen to.
Now they're all in favor of a fat race mixer who's married to a Jeet who named his son Vivek.
God damn.
Now, This week and last, I repeatedly asked Vance's office for any comment about this internal war about Fuentes, specifically about Tucker Carlson platforming Fuentes, and there was no response. This weekend, Vance did weigh in on something related to this issue. It had to do with another member of the Carlson family, Tucker's son, Buckley, who works for Vance. And he, Vice President, attacked just some rando on Twitter as a, quote, scumbag, because this woman claimed that Tucker's brother idolizes Nick Fuentes and questioned whether Tucker's son, Buckley, who works for Vance, is a vile bigot, too. We here at CNN have absolutely no idea if Tucker's relative.
He's like, something I'll point out about Nick is that he said H-Man had charisma to lead Germany down the road it took. I mean, yeah, I've heard his arguments on that too. He was like, it was amazing what he did. He brought those people up and then he drove them to commit a genocide. I mean, well, to be historically accurate, or I guess to give anybody their flowers, I mean, he has somewhat of a point that the man had charisma, but I don't think we want to glorify anybody who kind of led people to do atrocities. Let's just be honest. Like, come on.
Feel anyway about Fuentes. But it is clear from recent Twitter posts that his brother, also named Buckley, supports Tucker's platforming of Fuentes. Again, in August 2024, a few months before being elected, Vice President Vance condemned Fuentes. But since then, since the inauguration, Vice President Vance has weighed in on these issues only to defend people using anti-Semitic or racist language. He certainly hasn't called any of them scumbags. So on this Republican civil war, on whether it's okay to platform Nazis or espouse anti-Semitism, President Trump has weighed in, as has Vice President Vance. President Trump clearly leaning on the idea of free speech to make his point. Yet at the same time, Trump, of course, has no problem trying to get comedians who make fun of him fired. Clearly, neither President Trump nor Vice President Vance are shy about attacking or insulting anyone they don't like. They have opted to not do so when it comes to Nazis like Nick Fuentes, at a time when hate crimes against Jewish Americans are only.
I love it. They're literally trying to stoke it. They're like, oh, well, you need to go ahead and attack this side immediately. Right the F now. And no, we're not going to do so. Look, guys, that's the problem. It's America first versus MAGA, it seems. And here's the thing. I'm not going to sit here and just say that, oh, you can't listen to Nick Fuentes. You can't interview him. Give the man as much screen time as you want. It's your platform. Do what you want to do. I'm not going to sit here and tell nobody that they shouldn't give anybody no screen time. Actually, hey, here's the thing. The more you say don't listen to him, the more people want to listen to him. So you might as well just shut the hell up, to be quite honest.
Rising in the United States, the president and the vice president. When it comes to this civil war, they've made their views clear. They're not going to condemn Nazis. They're not going to condemn those who platform them. My panel joins me now. Thanks so much. Why is this so tough, Ashley Davis?
So they're trying to get, I guess they're trying to get MAGA to go after the so-called, what was they called, American Firsters, or really they're called the Groypers. Yes, the Groypers. They're trying to get us to go balls to the wall against these guys, start bashing them, start having inner turmoil between us, and I am good. I'm good. I'm okay. I mean, I agree with those guys on a good amount of things, and I don't agree with them when it comes to race. It is what it is. I'm good. It's like, y'all want us to go ahead and have a civil war over Nick Fuentes? Nick Fuentes. I'm good. Y'all trying to bring too much importance to this man in our life. I'm good. Y'all can go ahead and bring him up as much as y'all want. We're just going to go ahead and keep it civil this way instead of actually having a full-blown civil war over Nick Fuentes. Like a guy that I really don't agree. I honestly, I hate his views on race, but I can agree with him on political stances. Now, to sit there and have a civil war over that is absolutely insane. It's unproductive, and it's only going to hurt us in the end. So I suggest you guys get over Nick Fuentes. If it's really hurt you that much, well, just don't listen to the man. It is what it is. But sadly, he is part of the political sphere, so you're going to hear him if you're into politics. It is what it is. But shout out to my man Hellbat. He says, credit where it's due. Dems trying to gaslight just like he did, so cry just like he did, so cry harder, Dems. You ain't taking our 2A away. You ain't taking the Second Amendment away. Well, hey, look, I don't even think they're going for that right now. Right now, they're just going for a full-on MAGA civil war. See if they can get us to go after each other over who's willing to condemn Nick Fuentes and who's not. That's what it's all about. If you don't condemn Nick Fuentes, you're not MAGA. Shut the hell up.
Why? Like, I mean, it, by the way, we should note, obviously, this is going on to a lesser extent at this current moment on the left as well.
Well, absolutely. I mean, listen, anti-Semitism in this country, I feel, has been at the forefront more so in the last 3 years than it has been in the, in my adult life. And I think it needs to stop. I mean, we have it on
on both sides.
Yes, we have it on the extreme left. And now, I mean, I think what the president was trying to say is I can't tell Tucker who to interview or not. I'm not trying to defend it, but it needs to stop. And also, actually, the same side attacks on Muslims. I mean, I remember when I was in the White House, President Bush, after 9/11, made sure we read the Quran.
Yeah.
So we knew that this was not a hijack on their religion. It was terrorist. And this is the leadership of this country that needs to happen on both sides of the aisle. It's horrible.
Well, and also I think that like what's this divide that's happening in the Republican Party, you haven't seen it before because everybody's been so united around Trump. And now you're looking at 2028 where Trump is not on the ballot anymore. And the Republican Party will need to figure out whether or not they're going to embrace Tucker Carlson, Nick Fuentes, and that side.
I love what they're trying to do because they're trying to fuse Nick Fuentes with Tucker Carlson and Candace Owens when these guys got completely different views on, well, like I said, the topic of race, the topic of collective guilt. Like they have very different views, Tucker Carlson, Candace Owens, and Nick Fuentes. So trying to fuse them together as if they just share the same talking points, if they just share the same ideology is absolutely ridiculous. But I see what they're trying to do. They're trying to collect the more moderate ones to the extremists. And that's actually pretty damn smart.
Whether they're going to speak out against some of that terrible language that you played right there. So I think it'll be interesting to see what happens and how JD Vance goes about this. There have been a lot of Republicans like Ted Cruz and others who have spoken out, and you're starting to see these divides within MAGA really occur. And so I agree that they should speak out. And for Donald Trump to say, I'm not going to tell Tucker Carlson what to say or who to interview. I'm sorry. The man tells,
He just told NBC to fire Seth Meyers.
Yeah, I mean, that is constantly happening. He doesn't actually believe that people who oppose his views should be out there and should be interviewed, but yet he believes.
Come on now, that's a lie. He said they could be out there and say that. He just don't want him to have a job. That's it. I mean, they could be out there saying that, but he just don't want him to have a job. I mean, he's petty. We know the president is petty. Come on now. This ain't old news. But to say, oh, well, he's okay with canceling people. Nah, he's not really trying to take people's voice away, but he is trying to take you off that. He is trying to take your contract away. I'll tell you that. Like, let's be real. If he was even able to get what's his name, Jimmy Kimmel, like show taken down, well, Jimmy Kimmel could have still went to YouTube and did just as great. Like, let's be honest. He really wouldn't be able to touch him then.
Someone like Nick Fuentes, it's okay to interview. So I find that ironic.
But why do you think now? Sorry for interrupting here.
No.
But why? Jewish or not really Jewish people in this country do not vote Republican for the most part. They mostly vote Democrat.
It's like 60-40 the last election.
But listen, I mean, like the Republican Party has never, ever not supported the Israeli community, especially overseas and Israel in general. So I just don't understand why we're letting ourselves as Republicans get pigeonholed into this conversation because, first of all, who would ever support Nazism or anything else?
Yeah, and here's the thing. Nick Fuentes is not a full-on Nazi. That's the thing. I mean, he doesn't yes, he jokes around about Hitler, and that's like edgelording. Of course, he's trolling, but he's not a Nazi supporter. Let's be real. He's not anybody who goes around there saying hateful things directly to Jewish people's faces. He doesn't talk about slaughtering any race at all. So no, I can't really call him a Nazi because I never heard Nick Fuentes honestly say anything like violent against a race. Even when and the thing is, people gets on him for bashing Jews. I never heard him say nothing violent or do violence against Jews. I never heard him to say do violence against black people. Now, has he had his harsh criticisms of both groups? Of course, but having criticisms is not wishing violence on them. So those are two separate things. And I can let him have his harsh criticism of my community. I have my own. I have my harsh criticism of his community, of people who align with him. it is what it is.
The former congressional staffer who is accusing former Vice President Joe Biden of sexual assault is speaking out in a new interview. Tara Reid opened up about her alleged experiences on Capitol Hill back when Biden was a senator and about who she told. CNN political correspondent MJ Lee has the breaking details. And MJ, what did she say?
Well, Brooke, for the most part, she reiterated what she has previously told CNN and other outlets. She described this alleged sexual assault by Joe Biden in 1993 when she was working as a Senate aide on Capitol Hill back when Joe Biden was a senator. Now, Biden, as you'll recall, he personally denied this sexual assault allegation last week. And so this was the first time that we heard Tara Reid respond to what Joe Biden himself said. So here's a little bit of that interview.
If he's watching this, what do you want to say to him?
I want to say, you and I were there, Joe Biden. Please step forward and be held accountable.
So yes, Tara Reid, the person that is claiming that Joe Biden S.E.T her when he was senator, and because of these allegations, I mean, the government has came down on her, and she's actually been forced to move to Russia, where she currently resides.
Should not be running on character for the president of the United States.
Now, Reid also said that she is willing to go under oath and is willing to be cross-examined. But when she was asked whether she is willing to take a polygraph test, she said she would if Joe Biden were also willing to do so. And she also said in this interview, "I am not a criminal." Brooke.
Now that we're understanding, that there is new reporting related to Reid's old divorce records, right? Walk me through what we now know.
That's right. And just some important context first. Remember, last year, Tara Reid came out and said that she had had physical interactions with Joe Biden when she was an aide in the Senate that had made her feel uncomfortable. But at that time, she was only talking about sexual harassment. And it's only this year that she publicly came out for the first time and said that actually she was also sexually assaulted by Joe Biden. Now, a local California paper got a hold.
Hey, shout out to Hellbat. He wildin'. He said not even a wombat would touch that. You ain't. I mean, if you see her back in the day, I guess maybe. Let me. No, I'm not even gonna do that. But I'd implore you to look her up back in the day. Now, I don't know. You guys tell me. I mean, white guys in the chat. You guys tell me. Go look up Tara Reid's back in the day with Joe Biden, and I don't know. Tell me what you guys think. Would you hit? I'm just saying, okay, I'm just playing. You don't got to do that. But just want to, bring up a little bit of the past, just like my man Daniel Castro said, that y'all forgot about her, didn't y'all? So, oh, yes, when Dems do it, you guys forget about the victims. When Republicans do it or when Trump does it, oh, they're immortalized. Yeah, okay, that's fair. But all right, though, let's go over to the next video. While I do that, let me play this. Oh, I love that little clip. All right, right back to the show.
In Mexico, or putting American troops or American personnel into Mexico to deal with.
Would I launch strikes in Mexico to stop drugs? It's okay with me. Whatever we have to do to stop drugs. Mexico is, look, I looked at Mexico City over the weekend. There's some big problems over there. If we had to, would we do there what we've done to the waterways? There's almost no drugs coming in through our waterways anymore. Isn't it down like 85%?
It is, sir.
I don't know who the 15% would be. It wouldn't be you.
No, that's for sure.
No, I think it's been.
Tons and tons.
You would say that's a big signal.
Absolutely.
We have almost no drugs coming into our country by the sea, by the waterways. And you know why? Okay, I mean it's pretty obvious. Would I do that?
Actually, speaking of Kristi Noem, before we get back into Venezuela, I do want to also get into this as well. Like, quick little detour. Sorry, guys. But we got to get into what, let's see here. MS Now. Oh, wow, they changed already. Oh, man, yep. Yeah, man, that was quick. Used to be MSNBC, but now it is MS Now. Yep, you got both. That happens. But yes, now back at MS Now, it used to be MSNBC. Let's see what they're saying about following the money on Kristi Noem's. Because, you always know they got a lot to say.
Today, ProPublica published quite a scoop about Trump DHS Secretary Kristi Noem that in any other era, I should say, would be a career-ending scandal. But to understand the pattern of corruption of this woman, we just have to zoom out just a little bit, just for a moment. Because since Noem took over DHS at the beginning of the year, she's become known for appearing to be more obsessed with putting on various costumes than doing her actual job. I mean, she donned a bulletproof vest just to talk to her own agents. She wore a Customs and Border Patrol uniform on Fox News.
I mean,
and of course, she is constantly, and I mean constantly, throwing on a cowboy hat and riding horses.
I mean, well, her state is, what is she was the governor of what, North Dakota, South Dakota, one of the Dakotas, a farming state. So that adds up. And to her to be in border and uniform and all that good stuff, well, that's what a lot of leaders do to, talk to the group, to try to meet them at eye level. So actually, that's just good leadership skills. But yay, you trying to frame it as dress up because she's a girl. Well, I mean, it's kind of sexist, but hey, no, keep going, sis. Keep going.
Always with plenty of cameras around to capture the moment. But Noem's apparent obsession with image actually goes much further than just putting on costumes, because she has directed more than 200 million taxpayer dollars into TV ads to promote her work at DHS. And just to put it in context, that is nearly twice what DHS spent on ads altogether in all of last year. And the content of those ads have already been a scandal kind of in and of themselves.
I'm Kristi Noem, the United States Secretary of Homeland Security. Thank you, President Donald J. Trump, for securing our border.
And if you're wondering who exactly the target audience is for that, DHS spent $30,000 to run that ad, the one I just showed you, specifically in the ad market where Mar-a-Lago is. Now, as much as spending tens of thousands of dollars to make sure your ad plays on the TV near the president is a bizarre waste of taxpayer money, $30,000, it turns out, is a drop in the bucket compared to the more than $200 million DHS has spent this year making and airing ads. And the rest of that money is where the story gets truly bonkers.
Okay.
I mean, since March, we have known that DHS skipped the normal competitive bidding process when giving out the contracts to make and air these ads. DHS claimed that because Trump declared an emergency at the southern border, they didn't have to waste time getting competitive bids. And that brings me to the first part of ProPublica's big scoop today. Because it turns out that the majority of that no bid contract money, 143 million taxpayer dollars, went to this kind of mysterious LLC in Delaware, an LLC that was created just days before it got that no bid contract, just days.
Uh-oh.
And the man who owns the home that LLC lists as its address did not respond to ProPublica's questions. And when asked why the agency chose that LLC, DHS said, quote, "The results speak for themselves," and then proceeded to claim that Trump has made the border the most secure it has been in American history. Not exactly answering the question. So DHS.
Okay, so the headline was a bit misleading. They're pretty much saying that $143 million, no bids, DHS contracts given to an unknown LLC that they have not tied to Kristi Noem, but they are making the assumption that is Kristi Noem. You see how the headline can be so misleading with these guys? Because it said that, Kristi Noem was over here getting kickbacks, but then when you read into it, they're like, oh no, we're assuming that she's getting kickbacks because there's this unknown LLC that was started days ago before the contract kicked off, and we don't know who owns the LLC, but we're going to assume that's Kristi Noem. Okay, but it is, I ain't gonna lie though, let's not just comb over this because obviously it's not Kristi Noem or we don't know for sure. Let's just say that it is a bit strange that this is even, orchestrated, this is even set up in the first place. Like we got to sit there and admit that as well.
Just gave a $143 million no bid contract to a brand new LLC that no one seems to know anything about. That is obviously a scandal enough to begin with. Then there's this.
I mean, yeah, in a way, because here's the thing though, we don't know where this, it's an unknown LLC and you can't connect it to Kristi Noem when we don't know who's connected to. So who are we to really say that this is something that's, that Kristi Noem is doing, that anybody in the Trump administration is doing? This might be a way for maybe one of the maybe one of the ad millionaires to hide some money.
This is an ad Kristi Noem shot on October 2nd, which, by the way, was the second day of the government shutdown. So while hundreds of thousands of federal workers went without pay, including the nearly 50,000 TSA workers that work under Noem, Noem donned a cowboy hat and had a production company film her riding horseback with buffalo. And whether or not you care about the very weird content of the ad, you should care about who made it. Because according to ProPublica's new reporting, that ad was made by a company called Strategy Group, which is run by a man who is not only the husband of Noem's chief DHS spokesperson, Tricia McLaughlin, yes, she's a something, but also has personal and business ties to Noem herself. And the company's name, Strategy Group, does not appear on any of the public documents about the contract. Instead, the group listed on the contract is the mysterious Delaware LLC that DHS gave that $143 million contract to. I should say that DHS said in a statement to ProPublica that it does all of its contracting by the book. Okay. But the office in charge of funding ad contracts at DHS is the Office of Public Affairs, which is run by none other than DHS spokesperson Tricia McLaughlin. And when she was asked about why DHS ended up using her husband's company, Strategy Group, to make that ad, she replied with this: "We don't have visibility into why they were chosen. I don't know who they're a subcontractor with, but I don't work with them because I have a conflict of interest and I fully recuse myself. My marriage is one thing and work is another. I don't combine them."
Smart lady.
Well, Tricia, they seem pretty freaking combined right now, don't they? I mean, her husband, the CEO of Strategy Group, Ben Yoho, did not respond to ProPublica's questions. So not only did DHS give a $143 million no-bid contract to an unknown LLC, but that unknown LLC then hired someone tied to Noem, someone literally married to the Noem aide in charge of giving out DHS ad contracts. And believe it or not, this is not the first scandal about Noem and this company, the Strategy Group. See, back when she was governor, Noem's office hired Strategy Group to make these ads. Yet again, a lot of costumes going on here. This is Noem dressed as a state trooper, a construction worker, a nurse, an accountant. Here's Noem dressed as an electrician, a welder, a dentist, and my favorite, a plumber. There were a lot of these ads, millions of dollars worth, paid for by South Dakota taxpayers. Those ads were the result of a bidding process, and the state says the process was done by the book. But ProPublica reports that a former official from Noem's South Dakota governor's office has since alleged that the bidding process was...
So she can't run ads on the progress that she's making in her state? I mean, come on now. Y'all being a bit unfair. Now, I see where you guys are going with the hidden LLC getting kickbacks from the ad from buying ads and all that. Yeah, y'all was cooking with that. But now you're getting a bit petty.
Rigged. The former official said that a top Noem aide told them the governor would be angry if Strategy Group didn't win the contract. And then contemporaneous text messages reviewed by ProPublica corroborated that account, showing that senior Noem administration officials pushing for Strategy Group to get the contract. There's all that. Noem, of course, denies those allegations. Obviously. I should note that MSNBC has not independently verified ProPublica's reporting. But if this
MSNBC, no, you're at MS Now. Remember that.
Reporting is accurate and it's very detailed, and a company run by someone with personal and business ties to Noem herself has managed to score government contracts, huge ones, from Noem's agency with a no bidding process and literally zero transparency. That should at least very much be a call for an investigation from somewhere, if not cause for Noem to be forced to ride off in the sunset on one of those horses.
Hilarious. All right. Oh, hilarious. Okay, lady. I mean, I got to give it to her. What she was talking about, was important, but I kind of wish she didn't try to tie Kristi Noem into it and then did a bit more research until they was like, damn sure. But, give us the information on, there's this hidden company that's getting kicked back in Delaware that Kristi Noem just happened to be, used to be governor in. So, maybe this might be her, add that little, plausible deniability, not just say, oh no, it's for sure her. It has to be. Why? Because she's part of Trump's administration. Like, come on now. You can't sound that crazed all the time. But all right now, guys, let's go ahead and get into, Piers Morgan.
There's the infamous Bubba Obviously, there's the infamous Bubba email, whatever that means. I don't know why people aren't talking about that more. if Donald Trump had blown some guy and they had an email, they would at least leak that email.
We know a lot about Bill Clinton's sex life. Do you really think?
You know what? Maybe I need to get into this whole blowing Bubba fiasco. Maybe I do need to get into it a little bit more. And let's play into it. All right, guys. Because like I said, Ian Carroll actually had a pretty good video on this whole, just leaning into the whole conspiracy of, you know, is Trump secretly gay? Who knows? Well, let's see.
And again, if any of you are Trump lovers, just prepare your little hearts to be offended.
Do not diddle kids. We got to definitely write a song about how we do not diddle kids. Do not diddle kids. It's no good diddling kids.
There is no quicker way for people to think that you are diddling kids than by writing a song about it.
You got to write a song that says, "Ooh, I wouldn't do it with anybody younger than my daughter. No little kids got to be big, older than my wife, older than my daughter," something like that.
Human history, because if you didn't have Trump throat hugging Bill Clinton on your 2025 bingo card, neither did I. But here we are, because if you haven't seen, yes, emails released yesterday of exactly this. Now, I'm going to tell you up front, I don't know if this is true.
To be clear,
exactly.
I'm pretty sure it's true. I'm relatively sure that this email does exist.
I know it exists.
That doesn't mean that what's in the email is true, you know?
Yeah, I mean, this whole blowing Bubba thing became from an email exchange between Mark Epstein and Jeffrey Epstein. And Mark Epstein is Jeffrey Epstein's brother, and they do work pretty close together in business dealings. Why Mark Epstein's never been tied into Epstein's affairs is quite strange, but it is what it is. So these were two messages between brothers, and I guess they were making fun of Donnie, pretty much saying, ask him if he blow Bubba. Now, they did ask Mark Epstein, what did you mean by Bubba? And he did deny that, oh, no, that's not Bill Clinton, even though Bill Clinton's nickname is famously Bubba.
Mark Epstein could write anything he wants in an email, but the email does exist.
Mm-hmm. This. Now, I'm going to tell you up front, I don't know if this is true or not, but it also doesn't matter because it's hilarious either way. And the internet is absolutely ablaze with memes and videos and clips. So unlike yesterday's video where you ranted about how disgusting all these PDF protectors are, this one's going to be lighthearted. It's going to be fun. It's all going to be all comedy. So what I've done is I've compiled some of the funniest clips regarding this, and we're going to go through them just to brighten your Saturday here. So don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, helps the channel. Also, American First.
Yeah, and they are about to go through some lighthearted videos like Donica Lewinsky is wild, but hey, they take it there. Now, let me see if I can get where they had this they had this gay dude pretty much kind of voice, like kind of, I guess, lip, man, what's it called? I guess acting through Trump's speeches with very flamboyant emotions.
Sense why now he looks like this. Sorry, guys. And poor Bill Clinton getting absolutely blindsided by this.
What I'm trying to do here is in the background, I'm trying to actually go and get the specific email file out of the original folder in its original form, and we'll see if I can pull that off. But we'll let the comedy roll while we do it.
This morning.
What's going on here? Why is everyone acting weird towards me?
No, we're not. You're chill. Come on.
No, seriously.
And it's not just Bill having a rough morning this morning. You've also got some tough conversations going on at the White House with Melania.
Are you gay?
How you gonna ask me a question?
So yeah, it is in the text files in the original.
And we already concluded that, yes, it does exist. Like, these messages aren't a hoax. The hoax is that everybody jumping to conclusion that, oh, Trump is gay, which is, like I said, is low-key kind of funny. It is. Like, what can I say? The fact that people are literally jumping to conclusions is hilarious. Like, bro, watch this.
It becomes so obvious so quick.
Lip sync.
Arnold Palmer was all man. And I say that in all due respect to women, and I love women.
Like, bro. Come on now. Like, you can't tell me this doesn't kind of just push you in that direction just a little bit.
Thing that he says, it becomes so obvious so quick.
Arnold Palmer was all man, and I say that in all due respect to women, and I love women. But this is a guy that was all man. This man was strong and tough.
Right.
And I refuse to say it, but when he took showers with the other pros, they came out of there, they said, oh my God, that's unbelievable. I had to say it.
Right?
Keep in mind, these are actual real audio clips, by the way.
The muscles of this guy.
And I know it sounds like a stretch. I know it's a stretch. Don't approach this conversation. If you're skeptical of this, don't approach this conversation as though like we're saying Trump is gay. That's not what we're saying. What I'm saying is that this is an interesting thought experiment that will help us understand the nature of the blackmail industry, regardless if he's gay or not. Okay. So just like detach yourself from like this theory having to have a conclusion. That's not what this conversation is about. You're welcome to, think your own thoughts and come to your own conclusions, but this is going to be an interesting conversation about the pervasiveness of political blackmail using certain methods. And then you look around at the political environment at how many instances of this kind of stuff we have. And it just starts to open your mind up a little bit.
Excuse me. Could you stand up? Look at that guy. You and the beautiful white.
And actually, the cool thing that I will tease right now is that by the end of this conversation, this is a huge white pill. This is like the best possible like conspiracy theory that you could possibly have right now. And if that doesn't make sense to you yet, trust me, by the end, I think you will be like, oh, actually, I like there's some legs to like, if this were true, however likely you think that is, I think it's the best possible outcome to the whole Epstein thing that we could possibly have.
Shirt. Would you look at this guy? Holy mackerel! I'm looking at him,
and it's hilarious. Okay,
I always wanted to look like that.
It would be wild if Trump was just hiding the Epstein files to hide the fact that maybe he was a closet, maybe allegedly, possibly, he's gay, closet homosexual. Which, I mean, hey, man, no judgment. But it would be wild if that was the reason he didn't want the files to come out. And now that it's all out there in the open, I mean, shit, you might as well drop them now.
Didn't want to do the work.
He does love the YMCA.
You look good. Don't let anyone stop you. You look good.
And yeah, he really talks about kissing men a lot, which again, I don't know how we didn't see this already.
I feel so powerful. I'll walk into that audience. I'll walk in there. I'll kiss everyone in that audience. I'll kiss the guys and the beautiful women and everybody. I'll just give you a big fat kiss.
And one more just for good measure. And you got to give this guy credit. These are actually from like 6 months ago. He was way ahead of the curve.
And these are real audio clips, by the way. Real audio.
I'll kiss every guy, man and woman. Look at that guy, how handsome he is. I'll kiss him. Not with a lot of enjoyment, but that's okay.
More signs we're not paying enough attention to. Where did this?
Yeah, those are some clips.
Man,
that gay dude was on to something.
I mean, boy. Now, before he gets into this guy, Ray Cohen, Trump's mentor, who's a closet gay man, and this kind of leads even more into the whole suspicion of Trump being gay. Yeah, before he gets into that, let's go ahead and get right back into the show. Just want to show that little tidbit before, we move on, because it is pretty important to this conversation that we're about to get into, or this reaction we're going to get into this Piers Morgan video. All right, let's go.
Obviously, there's the infamous Bubba email, whatever that means. I don't know why people aren't talking about that more. If Donald Trump had blown some guy and they had an email, they would at least leak that email.
We know a lot about Bill Clinton's sex life. Do you really think large blonde men, that's Bubba's type? I don't think so.
Somebody else is running our government. Who ran this horrible scheme? There's no question Epstein was working with Israel.
The optics, the gold, the opulence that he surrounds himself in puts on full display that this guy does not give a flying fuck about the people that he pandered to on the campaign trail, and his priority is solely himself.
He's not worried about 3 months from now or 2 months from now. He's worried about next week. I think that's the move until he can come up with another distraction, perhaps killing more people off of the coast of Venezuela.
Marjorie Taylor Greene has changed her position on so many different things. She just apologized on CNN and said she's sorry for contributing to the rhetoric. That is insane to me. This is why he called her a traitor. This is why people think that she's changed. This has come down to Israel.
Lawmakers could vote as soon as tomorrow on a bill to release the Epstein files in full, and it now seems certain that it will pass. President Trump has given Republicans the green light to vote for full disclosure, announcing on Truth Social last night that, quotes, "we have nothing to hide." Only last week, he summoned Lauren Boebert to the Situation Room, no less, in a frantic push to persuade Republicans to vote no. So what's changed? Well, first, Democrats have been selectively drip-feeding Epstein's emails to the media with their own spin. Second, it's becoming increasingly clear that the Epstein files are a bipartisan outrage. Everyone from Michael Wolff to Larry Summers, Peter Thiel, and even Noam Chomsky remained in contact with Epstein after his first conviction. One Democrat lawmaker even appeared to be coached through a congressional impeachment hearing by the pedophile, as illustrated by the Washington Post.
Attorney-client privilege, yes, I will turn it over.
You, as my friend Mr. Meadows pointed out, misled this committee even today in a written submission that contradicted your testimony. You have suggested you are going to review that. Did you review? Are you going to review it in our next break to correct the record? Yes or no?
Yeah, so allegedly she was getting coached by Jeffrey Epstein on, well, what to say during this hearing, apparently. And it's kind of, and this is, what was, I think it was Trump's impeachment. So, yeah, it is a bit strange. And I'm going like, lady, what are you doing behind closed doors to get caught up with Epstein?
No.
Yes.
Question, you helped out the president's campaign or were involved in the campaign as a representative, as a spokesman, even in your words today. It was your idea for the campaign dating back to 2011. Is that accurate? Yes or no?
Yes.
Mr. Weisenberg and other individuals, Ms. Rona. Who are those individuals? Are they with the Trump organization?
They
and
are.
There other people that we should be meeting with?
So Alan Weisselberg is the chief financial officer.
You got to quickly give us as many names as you can so we can get to them.
Yes, ma'am.
As Ms. Rona, what is Ms. Rona's position?
Rona Graff is the Mr. Trump's executive assistant.
And would she be able to corroborate many of the statements that you've made here?
Yes, her office is directly next to his, and she's involved in a lot that went on.
Well, one thing missing from the files and the testimony of the many people involved is any serious accusations of wrongdoing against the president. Many are now highlighting this vintage Trump interview from 2015, in which he torches the former Prince Andrew and says Epstein could be a political problem for the Clintons.
You raised the question of Jeffrey Epstein in your remarks about in the Q&A.
Well, I think he's got a problem. I mean,
what do you think the problem will be?
I don't know, but that island was really a cesspool. There's no question about it. Just ask Prince Andrew. He'll tell you about it. The island was an absolute cesspool. So,
the Clintons are friends
and he's
of
been
yours,
there
right?
for many
The
times.
Clintons are friends,
Well,
yeah.
I can't say friends, but I know
You're friendly. You know them.
they play at my clubs a lot. I have clubs, and everybody likes to play.
Are you
at my
saying
clubs.
there's a political problem for her if she runs for president?
It could be a political problem. Look, he could be a political problem. Right now, he's Teflon, and right now, maybe not. But he could end up being a political problem.
Well, if Trump has nothing to hide and has always known that, it's not unreasonable to ask why this ever became such a mess. It may simply be that a lot of people, including some of his friends and donors, are about to be declared guilty by association. It's very likely that there's no list of VIP clients and no paper trail to Tel Aviv, which means some people will simply never believe they've got the full story anyway. But one thing is very clear, as it has been all along, this won't be going away until we know absolutely everything. Well, to debate, I'm joined by a star-studded panel. Cenk Uygur, the founder, CEO of the Young Turks, Brian Tyler Cohen, the host of No Lie, Brandon Tatum, better known as the Officer Tatum, and Michael Knowles, host of the Michael Knowles Show on Daily Wire. Plus, Anthony Scaramucci will join us shortly. Okay, Cenk, let me start with you. Donald Trump has flipped around on the Epstein files and their importance, significance, and need to be fully transparent about them for the last few months. I'm trying to scratch my head and work out exactly why, not least because when I interviewed David Boies recently, who was the attorney for Virginia Giuffre and a number of other victims, and also one of the most eminent criminal lawyers in American modern history, he was crystal clear to me that from everything he's seen in the files, there is no suggestion of any criminal culpability for Trump himself. So what is going on here?
Yeah. So first of all, obviously there was things that were embarrassing there for Donald Trump. And, you know, in your intro, you talked about how there isn't anything that says that Donald Trump actually did something illegal. That's true. And that means it doesn't mean that it doesn't exist. It just means that we haven't seen the files yet, right? But if it turns out we see the files and we're sure that it's the complete files, and it turns out Trump didn't do anything illegal, I wouldn't be overly shocked. This isn't about Trump. I know for the partisans, they think, oh, this is about Trump or Clinton or whoever, right? No, we just want to know who's running our country. And my guess is that Trump was hiding it both out of personal embarrassment, and let's get real. I mean, in the emails so far already, we see, Epstein saying that he's with Giuffre in my house in 2011, when Trump claims that he broke off his relationship with Epstein in 2003. Obviously, there's the infamous Bubba email, whatever that means. I don't know why people aren't talking about that more. And you've got a lot of really embarrassing stuff for Trump. But on top of that, this is clearly an intelligence agency, and at this point, pretty much proven that it's Mossad. Drop Site News has Ehud Barak's emails where they are conspiring. Epstein and the former prime minister of Israel are conspiring to get America to bomb Syria and to get America to bomb Iran. And Epstein is so powerful, he could set up a meeting with Vladimir Putin for Ehud Barak. He's more powerful than the former prime minister of Israel. This guy was a lot bigger than we realize. So look, for the partisans, they'll want the Democrats.
I mean, people gotta understand, Epstein been operating for a while now. Now, first, it was more about corporate espionage and him getting the Midas touch into these companies and getting this special roles, like how he did in Harvard and how he did in other corporations. So that Jeffrey Epstein's tyranny really started in the 1980s through I guess financial fraud, and then he elevated to child sex trafficking. Well, elevated is probably not the best word to use, but hey, it is what it is.
That's want to get Trump, and the Trump loyalists will pretend that he did nothing wrong and it was all the Democrats. But I think that's actually missing the point. The point is somebody else is running our government. Who ran this horrible scheme to rape American girls and then use the tapes to smear or maybe hold hostage American politicians and powerful people? I mean, the answer seems to be clear. There's no question Epstein was working with Israel. So why are we not talking about that? And of course, since Trump is a huge client of Israel, has gotten hundreds of millions of dollars from donors who favor Israel, he's going to want to hide that as well. And why is he giving up now and saying, okay, release the files? Well, number one, he isn't. He could release the files himself right now. So he's lying. He doesn't really want to release the files. And number two, it's because he already lost the vote. So what else is he going to do? He hasn't, because some portion of MAGA and a huge portion of his voters have rebelled, and they rightly rebelled. This isn't America first. This isn't anything that he promised before.
Okay, Brandon Tatum, welcome back to Uncensored. I saw you pulling a few faces there, suggesting you're not entirely in agreement with Cenk's assessment. So what's your response?
Well, I think it's interesting that it always got to be about Israel, which is insane to me. My assessment on the totality of circumstances is that
it's in the
I mean, dog, when an ex-Israeli prime minister is involved and Jeffrey Epstein just happened to be Jewish, can you really be upset? Can you? Or can we just have a reasonable suspicion, especially when an ex-prime minister is involved? Like, you just can't sit there and say we're just having the Israel derangement syndrome when, Israel is implicated.
I don't think this really affects the American people. Most people are trying to have a good livable wage and all this other stuff that we're talking about, housing costs, you name it, insurance, you name it. And nobody really is thinking about this. I don't know why this is such a major deal. If Trump was all
right, come on, Tatum. I was like, I get what you're talking about when you're saying, the Epstein files being released won't help you pay your bills or help with affordability, but it does bring peace of mind that, the elites just can't get away with whatever they damn well please. So I get what you're saying that, releasing the Epstein files won't help with your daily life. You're right, but it does bring peace of mind to the American people on both sides. So trying to downplay it isn't the move. I mean, that's what everybody was trying to do when Trump tried to downplay it the first one. PBD was trying to do it. Of course, Tatum was trying to do it, and it failed. And here he goes again, still trying to downplay it.
Implicated whatsoever in any of these files. I think we all agree that the Democrats would have at least hinted to it when he was running for office, so he'll never get in office again. And for someone to think that it's got to be about Israel, then you have to say that both sides are covering for Israel. And I don't think so. I don't think that the Democrats were as in love with Israel as Cenk is claiming that Donald Trump is. I don't believe so. you know, the CIA could be just as involved in this as you claim Mossad is. So we don't know. We don't have any evidence to even project this, to be honest. So I would say this, like everybody on this panel, they need to release the information so we can have clarity. But for this to be an ongoing thing and everybody's just so hyper-focused on this, this is the determination of whether you like Trump or not.
I mean, and now that's fair to say. Like I said, we don't know. We do know that he was like, what was it? I think Acosta backed off of him because they said he was with intelligence. He was an asset. What asset? Was it CIA? Was it Mossad? Who knows? But you're right. I mean, we don't know which intelligence agency Jeffrey Epstein was working for at the time, but we do know that he was an intelligence asset. Period, point blank. And shout out to my man Jerome Crawford. Hey, appreciate the support. He didn't have too much to say. He just wanted to show some support, man. I appreciate that.
That's asinine to me.
Angel Studios are back with a new
That's fair. I mean, like I said, I'm not jumping to the conclusion that it was Israel, but you can sit there and say there might be some Mossad involvement since a key figure in Israel's defense defense department was visiting Jeffrey Epstein, which is, he's also an ex-prime minister. So it's not far outside the realm of possibility to sit there and implicate the Mossad. Neither is it far outside the realm of possibility to sit there and implicate America or the CIA. It is what it is. But it is, but I'll tell you what it isn't. It's not fair to sit there and just say, oh, it's outright Mossad, it's outright the CIA without no definitive proof. And hopefully the Epstein files will give us that proof that we want. It either be the CIA, the Mossad, or even MI6.
conversation demanding truth and accountability. I mean, the one thing I would say about that, Brandon, that I would take issue with is your sense that people don't care. This is potentially one of the biggest pedophile scandals in modern American history. And it involves a man who's extremely mysterious, even to this day, seemed to have amassed an enormous personal wealth, buying one of the biggest homes in Manhattan. No one's quite sure how he got that money. He seems to, I mean, there's a fascinating bit of information on the Semaphore site today, Ben Smith's site, in which he talks about something that's on the files that's available now, which is Michael Wolff had written a 4,000-word piece about Epstein, which he sent to Epstein to try and, as he puts it, induce him to get other friends to talk to Wolff. And people can have their view about the ethics of that, but this has been Wolff's playbook with a lot of people over the years. But if you read it, the sheer volume, and this is after the conviction that Epstein had for being a pedophile, the sheer volume of rich, famous, powerful people pouring in and out of this Manhattan home is unbelievable. And and there are potential.
Yeah, I don't think Pierce Morgan did all the research because, he got that home from Lex Wexner. So here's the thing. Mr. Wexler got a lot of influence in my city. I'll tell you that right now. He got his name on a building at Ohio State. I mean, the man's house is about a good 30-minute drive from me in New Albany. Actually, that's where I work at, in New Albany.
2,000 girls and young women, many of the girls underage, who have been abused here. So I do think it really matters.
Let me clarify that if it came across as me saying nobody cares. I don't think it's that nobody cares. I think when you talk about the priorities of the president of the United States and the priorities of our country, I'm saying it's not as significant. There were a lot of victims, and I think they need to get justice. And how we haven't gotten justice for them this far is insane to me. We should release all the files. But what I'm saying is that the majority of the priority of this country, and the reason why I think that the president isn't as focused on this, and it's not necessarily just because it's nefarious, it's because there's a lot more things going on in our country that the majority of Americans are feeling every day in their pocketbook and all of the above. So that's all I'm saying. I don't want to be insensitive to people who are victimized by this criminal and evil person who's now dead. So I wanted to make sure that it's clear.
Okay, Brian, it's a fast-moving scandal. The former Prince Andrew was sort of hanging on right to the point that there were new leaked emails contradicting his previous statements about how long he'd known Epstein and so on. As Cenk pointed out, if what Epstein says in these emails that came out about Trump in the last few days is right, then it appears that Donald Trump may have continued his friendship with Epstein past when he said he did before. So these the leak emails have been pretty devastating in terms of apparent evidence contradicting a lot of public statements by a lot of very famous people. But ultimately, to me, what really matters is whether any of this activity was criminal. And I am mindful again of what David Boies said to me, which is he'd seen nothing criminal against Trump, but he had seen stuff against at least 6 and maybe as many as a dozen high-profile men, which he thought warranted criminal prosecution. So this has a long way to go. If this dump comes with all the files released, we could see a flurry of prosecutions against some very famous people.
Look, even if Trump didn't do anything illegal, the reality is that he is the one secreting all of these files, in effect protecting all of these people who may very well have done something illegal. And that's just as bad in my book, whether you are the one committing these crimes or whether you're the one protecting these people who are committing these crimes. And the reality is that Donald Trump—
But if he's demanding them to be released, then he isn't protecting them. But okay, bro. Okay.
Because as we all know, she is an appendage of him to be able to—
Whoops. Accidentally fast forward.
all of these files, in effect protecting all of these people who may very well have done something illegal. And that's just as bad in my book, whether you are the one committing these crimes or whether you're the one protecting these people who are committing these crimes. And the reality is that Donald Trump had the ability via Pam Bondi, because as we all know, she is an appendage of him, to be able to release these files months ago. And in fact, this wouldn't have been surprising considering this administration is filled with people who staked their entire identities, who predicated their entire brands on this idea that they were going to release the Epstein files on day one. So it's no surprise when you staff your administration with Dan Bongino and Kash Patel and Pam Bondi and Alina Habba, all of these people who had been beating this drum about releasing these Epstein files, suddenly they hide them. So if somebody did do something illegal and you have somebody who's protecting those people, in my book, that is just as bad. And I want to clarify a point that I heard previously on this panel, this idea that, if there was something bad in the Epstein files, that the Biden administration would have just released it. First of all, the Ghislaine Maxwell prosecution was going until 2022, and then her appeal was going until 2025. And in a world prior to this one, where the DOJ is completely politicized and weaponized, they're not going to release information on ongoing prosecutions. But that notwithstanding, look, I do believe that this stuff should have been released, and that falls squarely in the lap of one person, and that's Merrick Garland. And if you're looking for somebody to defend Merrick Garland and his judicious nature and his overly cautious nature, it's not going to be me. And frankly, I don't think it's going to be anyone, because this guy was focused not on achieving justice without fear or favor. This guy was focused on preventing the optics of politicization. This was as weak and meek an attorney general as I think we've ever had. So I also think that Merrick Garland should have released this stuff sooner. But look, in a previous world where the separation of church and state between the White House and the DOJ actually mattered, the same world that Republicans used to occupy when they clutched their pearls about Bill Clinton and Loretta Lynch, there wouldn't be a world where Joe Biden can mandate that Merrick Garland release these files. But we obviously don't live in that world anymore.
Okay, Michael Knowles, if I was advising Donald Trump here, I would just say, you know what, you should just get ahead of all this. Order all the files to be released.
Which he did.
Unredacted. Just get it all out there, because it's all going to come out now. However it happens, it's all going to come out. Yes, there's a process now where the House will vote on it. It's likely to vote in favor of releasing it. It goes to the Senate. There'll be enormous pressure on the Senate to authorize the release. And then there may be some stuff that's held back because they'll say, well, we're investigating. But ultimately, I don't think the American public are now going to be appeased until they know that every spit and cough and dotted I is out there. What do you think?
This is what it really comes down to, Piers. There have been lots of interesting things said on this panel. I'm very curious as to what the Epstein infrastructure represented. There have been many suggestions over the years, reportedly from Alex Acosta, the former U.S. attorney who was Trump's labor nominee when he apparently suggested that Epstein belonged to intelligence, the potential connections to Israel, the connection to the UK, obviously with Prince Andrew, whatever. Obviously, it's extremely interesting. I'd like to know more about it. We probably never will know much more about about it, but I'm interested in it. Obviously, we want justice for the victims. Obviously, we want bad guys to be held to account. All of that is true, but it's simpler. The reason that President Trump initially in 2015 called for scrutiny into Epstein is because he doesn't have anything serious to hide. Yes, I'm sure he turns up in the files. Yes, I'm sure there's some embarrassing stuff in there, but he's got nothing serious to hide. I've got that from pretty highly placed liberal sources too, as you've mentioned as well, Piers. Then the reason he flipped on it is because he realized rightly that focusing on the Epstein files doesn't really get him anything politically. It's just kind of a distraction from the topics he wants to be talking about.
I don't know about that, Michael knows. I'm pretty sure that everybody would appreciate it on both sides. Actually, he'd have gained some support from the independents and some people even over there on the left for releasing the Epstein files. So I don't like how they try to downplay just off saying, well, let's be honest, it's not really something that's going to affect the American people. And yes, you're right. But it's the peace of mind that it would give the American people on both sides that's important.
Which are crime in Democrat cities and immigration and the economy or whatever else. So I think it was a basic political calculation to say, if we're talking about Epstein, it doesn't really help us. Now, for that very same reason, I mean,
here's the thing. Not talking about Epstein didn't help y'all either. Like, let's be real. Like, you guys sitting there trying to say that doesn't matter. Did that help? No, it did not. Actually, it made it seem like, Trump was covering up pedophilia. So let's be real. He should have just released it in the first place. Trying to defend him, not caring about it in the slightest is just not a good argument. He should care about it. It implicates a lot of important people. And this, like I said, it gives peace of mind to the American people that government corruption just doesn't go, well, unchallenged. That's it. So anybody, like I said, it's very foolish to sit here and just try to downplay it as much as they're trying to. And yes, I get the argument that it doesn't affect the pocketbooks or what American people pay at the gas station. But hey, a lot of people on both sides care about it, and trying to downplay it only makes the Trump administration look bad. So yes, we might as well go ahead and release it and stop trying to downplay it.
White House just miscalculated. They thought that not talking about Epstein was going to make the issue go away so they could focus on more important.
Oh, shout out Steph. She says, got to go soon, 10 minutes, but I'll be live at 8 p.m. All right, Steph, I'll try to go ahead and catch it. I'll try. Appreciate the support, sis.
Things. Well, actually, it just put even more focus on the Epstein files. So now Trump comes out, he says, all right, whatever, I'm going to lose this vote. The party is in rebellion. Okay, fine, release the files. But I think it's much more practical than what everyone's suggesting.
Well, the only thing I would say about your timeline, I'm not saying you're wrong, but if you go back in the last few months, certainly the first months of the year when he got elected, there was this enormous push by his people to say, we're going to release all the files. We're going to be totally transparent. They came on this show and we're giving it the full, we're going to get it all out there, blah, blah, blah. And then a weird series of events happened. Elon Musk falls out with Donald Trump and suddenly tweets out of nowhere, posts out of nowhere on his X platform. Breaking news, Trump's in the Epstein files. That's why he doesn't want to release them. Enjoy your night, Donald, something like that. And within a few days, the whole investigation was shut down. The whole idea of releasing them was shut down. And, I remember looking at all that thinking, that is very odd. What is going on here, right? What has Elon Musk seen or heard? And the fact he set off this bonfire with this one post, which he then deleted later, but it triggered a series of events at the White House. It was a screeching U-turn on their previous attitude and tone towards these files. You don't have to be a conspiracy theorist, Michael, to think it's all a bit weird. Holiday season is here. I'm probably not alone in wondering if I'm being ripped off when I'm buying gifts online. I always suspect there's cheaper alternatives. But let's be honest. Who's got the time to check? Well, dupe.com.
Well, what can I say? I'm not really trying to hear these guys out when they're trying to sit here and say, well, it's not really that important. I don't know. I'm always going to have the disagreement with these guys on that one. But hey, let's see what they got to say now. Let's see. No, it would be distracting to release the Epstein files. Like, would it really? I mean, we could focus on affordability and read the Epstein files at the same damn time. Like, so really? And shout out to Hellbat. He says, all right, Steph, enjoy Commie Talk when you go live or liver.
I think that actually kind of proves the more basic
However
political
you meant
point,
that.
which is that releasing the Epstein files was a very good line during the campaign, and I think people cared about it. Don't forget, it was the conservatives back in 2014, 2015 who were calling attention to Epstein. That was initially considered a Democrat scandal. But then, as you see, even just from Elon's tweet, the very fact that Trump appears in the files, because he's known Epstein for a very long time, the very fact of that became a major distraction. It was politically damaging to the White House. And then you just got to think at a basic political calculation.
Yeah, it became a major distraction because it wasn't released. It wouldn't have been a distraction if it was just a release. It had just been a promise kept. We can no longer say nothing about Trump when it comes to the Epstein list. Let's just work it out for ourselves. It'd have been that'd have been it. It wouldn't have been such a distraction if Trump would have just released it and let that be that.
What's the best that comes out of releasing the files? Is it a real knockdown for the Democrats? Is there really going to be justice? Some of what's in the files is actually going to be retracted. Like you saw Virginia Giuffre retract an accusation against Alan Dershowitz and come out and say that she never saw Trump do anything improper. So it's this muddy, weird, ugly event. Even the real stuff with Epstein, the potential connections to intelligence or whatever, it's just so, I don't know, murky and obscure. I don't think there's a major political win. And now I think there pretty clearly is.
Cenk?
Yeah, no, this is way simpler. There's nothing murky about this at all. There's two factors here. One is Donald Trump's embarrassment, whether he did something criminal or not. And on that, let's stay there for a second. We're all ignoring the elephant in the room. There's an email that says that Donald Trump blew Bubba. Now, some people think Bubba is Bill Clinton. Some people think it's a horse. Some people think whatever. Now, I didn't write the email. I in fact, when I first saw it online, I didn't even believe it. And I couldn't believe it's actually true.
Yeah, ask him if Putin has photos of Trump blowing Bubba, which is wild because you kind of tell it's a joke. Because think about the context of this and all, and the timing, and then everybody thinking that Trump's a Putin asset. No, well, my bad, but Trump's a Russian asset. Just think of the timing of it all.
Do you believe it now?
Hang on. Just to explain to viewers who might be at the moment shouting at their screen, thinking, "What?" So this is a message reported as originating from Mark Epstein, Jeffrey Epstein's brother. He is the one who sends this to Jeffrey Epstein. He has since publicly denied that it was referring to Bill Clinton, but has offered no clarification as to who it was referring to. Clinton, of course, had that nickname, amongst others. I mean, it could just be a joke between brothers. It could just be a slur. Or it could be something else, I guess. I just find it very, very hard.
I have a question, Piers.
What's that?
I have a question for Cenk. I have a question for Cenk. Cenk, do you really believe, forget about Trump for a second, do you think that Trump is Bill Clinton's type? Everything, we know a lot about Bill Clinton's sex life. Do you really think large blonde men, that's Bubba's type? I don't think so.
Yeah. So guys, this is a classic distraction. That's funny, but I don't know if Bubba's Bill Clinton. I don't care if it's Bill Clinton. I'd be surprised if it was Bill Clinton. But I don't know that he actually blew a guy. I don't know. But Mark Epstein denied that it was Bill Clinton.
I mean, here's the thing. I'm not sure how people are getting that when it was obviously a joke saying, ask Putin if Trump blew Bubba. Like, where does that implicate that Trump actually gave a blowjob to a guy? Like, it nowhere. That's what I'm saying. The Dems just pulled that and ran with it. And now they got people, if they don't actually do the research, they got people actually thinking there's an email out there saying that Trump blew Bill Clinton. Like, if you do, look, trust me, I'm pretty sure there's people out there who literally think that. But if you actually show them the email, they're going to look at you and be like, whoa, this can't be the email, because the way everybody's been framing it on the internet is if it's a damn for sure thing that there's an email saying Trump blew Bill Clinton. No. It's all going off this one sentence right here. Ask Putin if Trump blew Bubba. Just that alone.
But didn't deny that Donald Trump actually gave a blowjob. So it's not me.
On,
and if you say, hey, look, it's Epstein's brother, I don't trust him.
Even you
but
believe
hold on. Let me finish the thought. Hold on. No. And then Jeffrey Epstein says, well, the Russians would love to get their hands on that picture or something like along those lines. So wait, is that a joke? That doesn't sound like a joke. So look, I'm not saying he definitely did it, but is it possible that Donald Trump was embarrassed that would come out? Of course. Okay, but that's only half the equation, and the less important half of the equation. The main reason why it never came out, both under Trump and under Democratic administrations is because it obviously involves intelligence agencies. This is not complicated. And Officer Tatum says, oh, okay, it might be the CIA. I agree. Maybe it's the CIA and Mossad working together, but there's no question. You could look at the 4-part series on Drop Site News. The former prime minister of Israel's emails have been released, and Epstein and him constantly are coordinating about how to push America into a war. And they're talking about only the benefit of Israel. They never talk about the benefit of America. And Epstein is using almost all of his power to help Israel. That's now an established fact, and that's way more important than Bubba, right? And yet, that's another giant elephant in the room. And mainstream media is like, oh, no, it involves Israel, so we can't talk about it. Well, that explains everything. That explains why both parties have been covering this up, because it involves potentially our government or
well, I have
a
to say,
beloved
yeah. I mean, look,
special
I have to
allies
say,
government.
Officer Tatum, look, I don't know the answer to this. But I would say, having read a lot about Jeffrey Epstein now and the circles he mixed in and the circles he brought to his home and to his island, when you put it all together, it is absolutely not beyond the realms of fantasy. In fact, I would say it heads more to a high likelihood that he was up to his neck in it with intelligence agencies of some kind, maybe myriad intelligence agencies. It would absolutely go with his persona and the type of people he was getting around his table on a sort of almost daily basis. So I certainly wouldn't want to bet the bank on him having no attachment to Mossad or CIA or anybody else.
Yeah, I wouldn't say that either. I have no idea what exactly is involved in this, and nobody does. I mean, it's a very complicated situation. Nobody understands the totality of this, because he was arrested under Donald Trump's first term, if I'm not mistaken. They had the information there. It was we had the White House and everything. We could have divulged whatever needs to be divulged, and people are going to argue if they don't get the results they want that it was deleted. It was somehow some nefarious thing that went on. Then the Clintons, and then Joe Biden had it forever, and they did nothing. They didn't even mention anything any impropriety about Donald Trump. You would think if Donald Trump had blown some guy and they had an email, they would at least leak that email.
Yeah,
they wouldn't mention nothing else. They would leak an email about Donald Trump at least before the election, to make him look bad, so he'll never get into office, and they can continue to cover this up forever in perpetuity.
You know why I think they didn't?
Unless Israel ordered them not to.
Well,
so
I
mean,
don't know.
It
might be. Hang on.
It's always Israel with Cenk. You gotta love it.
Hang on. It might be simpler than that.
It
It might be simpler than that. My gut feeling.
Biden listened to every single thing Israel said.
My gut feeling.
Yeah, that is true, though. I mean, Biden definitely did listen to everything Israel said. I mean, trust me, when Biden was trying to stop what was going down in Gaza, Israel told his ass no. And for some reason, Biden listened. But it is what it is. I mean, hey, if you think that the whole Israel-Gaza situation is going to be better under Kamala, wrong. But hey, let's go ahead and get over to let's head back over on the right side of media. I'm getting a bit bored with the conversation these guys are having. I mean, it's always about Israel.
Democrats who shamed young men as...
Hey, as an Israel criticizer, even I get tired of talking about Israel.
Democrats who shamed young men as too toxic and manly are now getting roasted by the granddaddy of sports bro culture.
Maybe they stop coming up and everything, but we're moving on.
Barstool Sports founder Dave Portnoy explains why he bailed on the Dems. Listen.
What happened to the Democrats? Why did they lose so many young men?
Generally, they were very anti-normal guys. Like what
do you mean normal guys?
It's okay.
Are you saying there's only one way to be a guy?
If that girl's hot, hey, that girl's hot. I want to drink. I want to party. I like frat parties. I like that. That was all bad. The white guy, and this sounds, but was the bad guy. Became the bad guy. And there's a lot of white dudes who are like, well, I'm not the bad guy. Like, what are you getting mad at me for? I wasn't here for colonialism or any of the stuff that you guys are complaining about 200 years ago.
You're a benefactor of white supremacy, is what their white liberal counterparts would tell them.
Democrats are desperately hunting for a dose of Joe Rogan-style manosphere magic, but all they can get are lawmakers like this 82-year-old purple-haired congresswoman who calls herself the ranking Rizzler. According to a new report by NBC, Democratic operatives are working on how to renew the party's appeal to young men. One strategist says this.
Hold on.
how to
Democrats dip into the manosphere. Oh, it's about to get red pill over there. No, they're not ready for that. The manosphere, or what they used to be the red pill, that completely went downhill over the years. But yeah, how they feel about women, what they think about women, and how they feel about intergender dynamics, or how men and women should get along, is completely antithetical to how the Democrats view women, how they view dating and all that good stuff. Yeah. Them trying to dip into the manosphere to try to dig up young male votes, I'm sorry, but they've already been taken to Myron Gaines and Andrew Tate, according to Kamala Harris, according to her.
Do the party's appeal to young men?
Not me, but her.
One strategist says this. I don't think that there is a lack of popularity with Democratic policies. It's a lack of the ability to appropriately communicate those policies in a way that actually breaks through and resonates with these voters, right? And now the libs are dropping life tips for dudes, like how to drink.
What?
In my view, the worst thing that's happened to young people.
And you see where your guys effed up. Y'all trying to teach people to drink, then the conservative trying to teach people to what? Make money. Shoot, I mean, honestly, yeah, it's mainly make money, work out, talk better, or be a better communicator when it comes to, you know, trying to court the women you want. Things that guys actually care about. I'm be real with you, we can kind of do without the drinking, the smoking, and the partying that your side seems to obsess over.
Is the anti-alcohol movement. And my point is that the risks to your 25-year-old liver are dwarfed by the risk of social isolation. In sum, think of all the amazing relationships.
AKA, start socially drinking more just to get along with people. I mean, I'm not sure if that's the best idea. I don't know about that.
You've had in your life. And
shoot, if you're not a drinker, I don't know, bring you like an energy drink with you, you know, get hype with them. Yeah, I mean, look, hey, you'd be surprised how drunk you could have seemed with 2 Celsius and no food. Yes, 2 Celsius, no food.
Be honest. Did alcohol play a role? In sum, get out, drink more, and make a series of bad decisions that might pay off.
Yes. Greg, you think that's good advice for young men?
I don't know if that was good advice, but that certainly was what I followed in my 20s. Why did I go out in my 20s? I had nothing at home. I had a TV with 4 channels. I had a microwave and a boombox. There was nothing. There was nothing keeping me on the sofa. These days, I don't envy these young guys because you really got to have.
I mean, Lord knows we didn't even have TikTok. So we didn't have TikTok. Snapchat just came out. Instagram wasn't all that great with the reels and all that. I mean, we didn't have none of that going on. Of course, we had social media. We don't got the social media today with all the addictive things at it, like reels and all that good stuff. Like, nah, we didn't have that. So you're right. We were definitely prone to go outside more with our phones. Actually, if anything, social media was damn near used for dating, and that's mainly what guys were using it for. You know, if you were, I don't know, wasn't a weirdo or something.
An incentive to go outside. You can watch anything, you could play anything, you could eat anything. If the Rockettes called me and said, come over, we're hot tubbing, I'd say, nah, I don't know. Can you come over? I have a tub. Because we've all become a nation of homebodies, and I think COVID did that. But I wouldn't blame the party for this. I think there's a culture. What happens when the reigning culture decides that all the elements that make you are toxic? If you want to be good at something, say at work, well, then that requires objective measures, and objectivity is bad. If you like sports, that's, you know, patriarchal and competitive. You want to look good. Fitness is oppressive. You want to make money. Well, you're a greedy Republican.
I'm just going to be honest. The fact that guy said, oh, maybe men should do a little bit more drinking to be more social. And then Republicans are like, why don't you just better yourself through, you know, learning about finance, working out, and all that good stuff. I mean, which side would you pick if you were a young man? Like, of course, you would go with the side that's speaking for self-improvement. But for some reason, the Dems haven't really caught on to that.
If you want to raise a family, you hate the planet. So it's kind of no surprise that men are finding replacements for achievement. Sadly, not just with, you know, video games make you feel like you're doing something, but also pornography. I mean, it's like that comes through a faucet in your house.
I mean, shoot, the Dems stand for OnlyFans, so they ain't gonna tell you to stop watching pornography. I mean, what you mean? They're all about what? Legalizing sex work, basically legalizing prostitution. So, yeah, they're not going to give you any advice on that. They're not going to give you any advice on eating healthy because of body positivity. So, I mean, what good advice does the Dems have for young men? I mean, anything?
House, no need to go look for reproductive potential outside when it just comes in. And men find purpose and value in things that our culture today devalues. We've elevated identities that are outside what we would call, I don't know, traditional culture. And we've denigrated the things, military service, law and order, and also just raising kids, having a family. So it's kind of like guys are looking at this party and saying, you know what, you don't want me here. I'm out of here. We don't mind being the butt of jokes. We don't mind being the idiot in the sitcom.
I mean, honestly, the way bro made it framed, it's like kind of like outgrow the Democrat Party. Like, if that's what you guys are about, drinking, having fun, and gay sex, I mean, or gay sex and hookup culture, then yeah, we're good on it. At a certain age, you're kind of, I mean, damn near outgrow being a Dem if that's what you're preaching. But I mean, Lord knows that's not all it is to be a Democrat. But for some reason, that guy was trying to minimize it to try to reach out to young men through, oh, let's start drinking and having more fun. It's like, yeah, that's not how you reach young men. Trust me, young men can do that without y'all telling us.
But when you start calling us evil, we'll show our way out.
I don't mind being the butt of jokes on this show. They were just making fun of my lack of knowledge.
I don't think you have a choice.
Winston Churchill's bathing habits. Dana, you mentor young women.
Yeah.
If you were to mentor young men, what would you tell us?
Well, actually, the last book I did, I really did try to make it for both men and women, because there were young men like Johnny. When we first did the first minute mentoring thing around here, he's like, well, what about us? It's like, it's got a good point. And remember in the grievance Olympics that was the 2020, where you had Me Too and Black Lives Matter, the very bottom of the pile were white men, and they were expendable. You had major companies across the United States, like, for example, Google, and basically were like, white men do not need to apply here. We had the Do No Harm group that's down there. I think they're headquartered in DC, but they.
Yeah, I ain't gonna lie. They were definitely crapping on white dudes for like, wow now. I mean, damn near start getting discriminatory towards them and start being prejudiced towards white dudes for no real reason but white supremacy, the patriarchy, and oh yes, of course, slavery. So, and here's the thing, we're not blaming the dudes of back then. For some reason, we're blaming the white dudes of today, like probably the most least racist white dudes in history.
Basically look across all of medical schools that had illegal classified ads that they would post up, or job vacancies.
Oh, and shout out Misfit Supervisor. Appreciate the support, sis. He says, good morning, Set. It's a beautiful morning. And ain't that the truth? Yes, it is.
Vacancies saying white men need not apply. And this just became okay with everybody. So I'm glad that we are focusing on it. I'm glad that CBS put Dave Portnoy on to talk about it. White men became the scapegoat for everybody's grievances. And where that only leads to problems. So not only do the Democrats did the Democrats lose white men, but so did corporate America. Really, think about look what Gillette did. They actually they spent money, probably millions of dollars, to create a toxic masculinity campaign that basically said, we don't even want your business. We don't want you to work for us. We don't want anything to do with you. And now all of a sudden the Democrats are like, oh shoot, now we got to get them back. But you can't just get them back by saying, oh, we want to get you back and let's go have a beer. You have to have the policy ideas that back it up.
They said, oh, shoot.
They did. Shoot.
I mean, the guy that we just said, the strategist, Harold, said that it wasn't really about the policies, that young men love the Democrat policies. It's the message. Is that true?
I don't know. Good to be with you.
You too.
I think a couple of things. I like Dave Portnoy. He's a Michigan guy like I am, and I like that about him. I think he's onto something. There's no doubt this last election, the last presidential race, the last two probably saw men. I think he characterized it about right, and I think Dana nailed it as well. I think that Scott Galloway, I think that's his name. I find him so interesting because I do believe that we're at a critical point with young guys and young men. My son's only 10, but I try my hardest to encourage and support him and love him as I do my daughter. But I think young men, we're facing a time where the digital connection, the constant digital connection young men had. I think Greg said it very, very well at the outset about how these men are isolated and lonely and disconnected and inactive. I think Scott said something about sexually inactive and socially inactive. We've got to find ways to reconnect because I think you become more susceptible to some of this online craziness and radicalization that we see young boys, young men being gripped around. Now, the politics of it, Democrats have to understand that if you create policies that keep our cities and nations safe, keep our borders safe, create good jobs, educate our kids, and make healthcare affordable, you have a much better chance of winning. If you focus on the fringe issues or issues that are 1% and 2%, or we'd like to say 90-10 or 95-5 around the table, you're going to alienate voters. Now, this last election, one of the things that happened just 2 weeks ago was that the voters that President Trump was so successful with a year ago, including young voters and black voters and Hispanic voters.
But all right, guys, let's get to the wild side of the live because we're about to get into the more fringe guys of politics. Starting with this guy here.
Mexico, and I'll go deep dive tomorrow. It's ongoing. It's spread all over the country. It's far overdue. Obviously, Trump is involved. He's got the CIA in Mexico and in Venezuela. The two partners trying to overthrow them. Scheinbaum's terrible. But don't give credit to the CIA. Mexico's been revolting for a long time. That was an easy color revolution. The question is, what do they put in after? Millions. Our news, though, Trump doesn't control it all. It's like, oh, thousands. No, millions protest. Millions. Show that clip. That's got to be 500,000 alone right there. It's all over Mexico. They know the government's protecting cartels. Scheinbaum says leave them alone as they murder and kill and are the actual real government. Look at that in Mexico. Oh, the footage of them, the police attacking people and the crowds grab them and drag them off. They tear down the barriers. And you got Mexico engulfed with the police trying to attack peaceful crowds, so they overrun and tear down the fences and storm the palace like the Bastille of the French Revolution, and it's all over Mexico. And they go, oh, it's the CIA. I'm sure the CIA is trying to manipulate it, but no, that's the people. And it's all about what's about to happen in Venezuela. As Trump cuts off the money and the cartels. Remember when Trump first got in, they said, oh, New York Times, if he cuts the money and bans U.S. banks laundering money, that'll hurt the economy. New York Times. He's done that. He's cutting off the CIA drug dealing. He's going after the Democrats' piggy bank. Another great thing he's doing. Do I totally support regime change? I don't trust it. It's too dangerous. But I get where he's going. This is real. And he's backing the people of Venezuela and Mexico that are under tyranny and total election fraud. Big moves are happening, ladies and gentlemen. We'll be here chronicling it all. Every guest we've interviewed in studio, I've given our ultramethylene blue to, and they've all been blown away. Ladies and gentlemen, this isn't hype. All our supplements are great and have amazing health.
All right. Before my man get into his, make sure to get your methylene blue. Give you superior mitochondria, recovery in your cells and all that good stuff, which I would advise you would try methylene blue. Shoot, I'm about to try me out some methylene blue. But all right, guys, let's go into Alex Jones' rant on Mossad agents or the social media pundits that he believe are Mossad agents.
You're not Americans. You're absolute 100% high-level Mossad operatives. My God.
My God.
I bet Levin's a colonel in the Israeli military. Now, this has gotten so out of hand and people have turned on Israel so much, I'm going to warn Netanyahu and I'm going to warn these Mossad agents right now. And I'm giving you my real advice, and I'm known at the FBI, the CIA, everywhere have tried to hire me for my ability to understand this stuff as a top analyst. I mean, seriously. But you don't have to be that smart to know this. You're not, if you actually trigger this, you're not going to get out of it. You think because you got nuclear weapons, this is going to end up okay? You're going to get Israel destroyed and probably the rest of the world with us.
Damn.
So, with us, with humanity. So, you've got to stop, ladies and gentlemen, all of us. All of us have to come together and realize the bigger picture of these evil globalist forces trying to manipulate this conflagration. It's got to stop.
All right.
Just like Mark Levin and all of them. If you don't want to have nuclear war, or you don't want to have us tell you what to do, you're anti-Semitic and you're not MAGA. None of you guys were for Trump. I was one of the first people to endorse him. I don't need to hear that from
that
you.
is facts.
Pro shot.
No, that is facts. It's like, bro, all the guys who are trying to cause a divide, like Mark Levin, Ben Shapiro, these were never Trumpers. We're talking about the guys that were never Trumpers is now trying to tell you who's MAGA. The guys who didn't, who said they would never vote for this man, who's completely against this man, like Lindsey Graham, like Mark Levin, Ben Shapiro, we're now letting these guys tell you who's MAGA? Hilarious.
Pro-open border, pro-world government, pro-censorship. You're not Americans. You're absolute 100% high-level Mossad operatives. My God.
Cook out.
I bet Levin's a colonel in the Israeli military. I mean, I just cannot take it anymore. And I don't hate you because you're Jewish. I don't hate you because you're Mossad. I hate you because you're trying to bully us and get in our face and acting like a bunch of assholes and then energizing the Nazis. See, because I'm actually thinking multi-level, dumbass, but they're not actually that dumb. They think they're creating a big crisis and they'll come out on top after some synagogues get hit soon, which I said 8 months ago on Tucker is coming. And I've told people that are doing nothing but go after Israel constantly, I go, you think you're getting all this attention and all this stuff? What happens when the Democrats use this to blow up MAGA and they know how much power you got? They're going to throw you in prison. I've told Fuentes this. I said, I know you're tough. He's not scared. I said, you should be. I mean, you should be understanding, not just, don't be scared to do the right thing if you get killed, but this will lead to a conflagration. Think second, third.
I mean, that would be quite the setup. Yeah, that'd be quite the setup. Because think about it. Let's say a Groyper, a guy who followed Nick Fuentes on X and all that good stuff, goes out there and blows up a synagogue. It's on. I mean, I'm be real with you. At that point, Nick Fuentes probably get attacked anytime he's in public. The Trump administration might try to put this man in jail, and Mark Levin will completely lose it on his show. I mean, all three of those will happen.
Fourth order that is going to be so destructive. And it doesn't mean you don't expose Israel and America first. It's just saying, understand all these other ingredients have been added to the second, third, fourth order events that are coming, and it spells out destruction. And that's exactly what Tucker said last night. So what are you going to do when somebody truck bombs a Jewish center? What are you going to do when somebody goes to a synagogue and shoots 300 people? Because I can see the last ingredient to this. You have to be an idiot not to. And then where are we? Now this is.
Oh yes, I did hear this. I actually heard this on Breaking Point. Actually, yes, Israel seeks new 20-year defense funding deal with the U.S. I mean, yes, in 2014, under the Biden administration, Congress signed off on a multi-billion-dollar emergency military assistance package for Israel. Now, this actually came out though 4 days ago on November 14th. But yes, Israel seeks a new 20-year deal. Yeah, no, not at all. Tell them no.
Nope. Gotten so out of hand, and people have turned on Israel so much. I'm going to warn Netanyahu, and I'm going to warn these Mossad agents right now. And you know, I'm giving you my real advice, and I'm known at the FBI, the CIA, everywhere have tried to hire me for my ability to understand this stuff as a top analyst. I mean, seriously. But you don't have to be that smart to know this. You're not, if you actually trigger this, you're not going to get out of it. You think because you got nuclear weapons, this is going to end up okay? You're going to get Israel destroyed and probably the rest of the world with us. So, with humanity. So, you've got to stop, ladies and gentlemen, all of us.
Pump the brakes.
All of us have to come together and realize the bigger picture of these evil globalist forces trying to manipulate this conflagration. It's got to stop. I want prosperity. I want justice. I want Western civilization. I want Christianity. I want freedom. I want to stop the expansion of cancerous Islam. And I want to kick the Israeli firsters out of our government. Barring a miracle in the courts, InfoWars should be shut down somewhere close to January 1st. That's it.
Well, so I mean, that's how Alex Jones feeling, to be quite honest. I mean, like I said, if you're Israel first, shoot, go live in Israel. But don't sit here and pretend like you're America first, because you're willing to throw away American lives or throw away Americans' reputation globally for Israel. And trust me, we just can't consider you an America first guy or even MAGA. But you can be an Israel first guy. We'll respect that, but just don't try to cloak yourself in MAGA, please. Like we rebuke you. I'm sorry, but we do. But all right, though. While you guys understand that you guys are being rebuked, and I know it's tough, but come on, man. We gotta separate from you guys. You're not a good look. You're just not a good look, man. We're going a different direction. We're going with Make America Great Again in the America First direction. I'm sorry, Israel, but it is what it is. Y'all want a 20-year spending deal. You might get that, but if it was up to me, it would be a no. And I'm pretty sure a lot of guys in MAG would tell y'all no. Even some of the guys who aren't the most ardent supporters of Israel would tell you no. But hey, it is what it is. All right, guys, go ahead and listen to this quick little clip, and I'll be right back.
Do you think?
All right, now let's get into these Marjorie Taylor Greene threats.
Taylor Greene just posted on X that they've had bomb threats at her construction company business, and they're getting pizzas delivered to her house and her family's house. People like Laura Loomer made jokes about it and said, "Oh, look at you whining." MTG's been swatted more than 10 times on record.
I lie. Laura Loomer is heartless. Actually, Laura Loomer is a weirdo. Let me show you how weird Laura Loomer is. Okay, let me show you this how weird Laura Loomer is. Okay, this is why I just don't like her. And not honestly, there's one of the many reasons why I don't like Laura Loomer, because she's a genocidal maniac. But other than that, she does weird stuff like this.
Your hair and your eyes look so good. You're like beautiful.
Thank you.
You're like an Aryan degenerate goddess.
Thank you.
I love it.
Thank you. You're Aryan too.
I know, but I'm Jewish.
It's okay.
The Nazis hate me.
It's fun.
The alt-right people want to put me in a gas chamber because they're obsessed with the Jews.
I think they're just memeing on you, but it's okay.
They're just jealous because I have big tits and an Ashkenazi IQ.
Yes, that's what it is. You got it.
I'm going to tell you a secret. Like, do you know so many people in this movement who preach trad life are like fucking people on the side and like cheating on their partners?
That's
like,
so bad.
Like, they're not.
Hey, yo. Hey, you know what? Hold on. I mean, shout out Laura Loomer for that last part, though, because you ain't lying. You ain't lying. A lot of these want to play trad guys be out here cheating on their wives recklessly. Probably worse than the liberals do. So, I mean, yeah, shout out her. That's hilarious.
I've been swatted. My crew's been swatted. And the pizzas come first. Then they talk to the delivery guy to make sure it's the right house and that they talk to you. This is serious. We've seen Congressman Scalise shot, Charlie Kirk killed, so much more. And so I tell Laura Loomer, don't make jokes about this. I know you hate MTG, but we need to turn the heat down here and stop this MAGA civil war. We can disagree with each other all day. But to say that she's making this up or she's a crybaby is bull. Now, this could be a false flag. The Democrats have swatted her and done all this much before. They can be doing this to stir her up and push her in to going against Trump. And MTG responded as if it was Trump coming out calling her a traitor that did this, which is logical. But again, the left are experts at pulling off Jussie Smollett type crap. So we need to de-escalate this. We need to stop fighting amongst each other, just like when Trump kicked out Musk. Really hurt Doge, hurt his approval rating. Now Trump's brought Musk back, brought in his NASA head. We need cooler heads to prevail and stop this big cat fight that's going on between Laura Loomer and MTG. That's where a lot of this started. So this is out of control. This is very, very dangerous. And we'll be covering it all, obviously, on the show tomorrow. But we don't need to eat our own. The Democrat Party is done. They have record low approval rating, record low fundraising.
Yeah, that's why I said everybody kind of like, look, I understand she's been saying some wild things on CNN and all that good stuff, but let's lay off Marjorie a little bit. Like the whole Marjorie Taylor Greene stuff is a bit far. I mean, I'm looking at Trump like, okay, look, bro, you could have came up with a better name than traitor. That's a bit much. And that might radicalize people against her, like what they're doing now.
They're falling apart. All they have left is election fraud. Trump overall is doing a great job. He's done some things that are really, really stupid.
But here's the thing, though. I will admit this. The way Marjorie Taylor, Marjorie, I don't know, right? That man's nicknames are so catchy. They catch on so smooth. But Marjorie Taylor Greene like the way she went about, or like, you know, airing out her grievances with the Trump administration was wrong. I think she should have directly went to Fox News, directly went to President Trump, show the communication that how, oh, if Trump's ignoring her, show that instead of going on there crying to CNN. I mean, it was honestly a bad look. I'm gonna be honest.
But none of us are perfect. We need to course correct Trump when he's wrong. We also need to not throw the baby out with the bathwater. And we need to stop attacking people like Congressman Massey and MTG. That's the bottom line. God forbid more Republican patriots get killed. God forbid Tucker Carlson gets killed with all the threats and calls for violence against him by the neocons. This is serious. God bless you all. Follow me here on Expert Elections.
And all right, let's go ahead and get to a funny. But all right, now let's have a little bit of fun with this video right here. I mean, shout out JGTV. These AI generated videos are always hilarious.
Good morning. We have a fresh update on the Epstein Kirk case.
Yeah, and TPUSA is absolutely covering up his murder.
Right. Thank God for Candace.
Straight up.
Tammy, take it away.
Chloe and Michael, good morning. We're here with producer Berg, and he is not happy about this episode, but we're going to have Candace on anyways.
We fired her for being antiseptic. Shut it down.
Do you want to know who was also asking a lot of questions? Charlie Kirk was asking a lot of questions towards the end of his life, right? He was asking questions, hitting hard about Jeffrey Epstein on his show.
Epstein with his little friend Ghislaine and Ghislaine's father, Robert Maxwell, who was obviously a spy of the Israeli intelligence agencies, that there was something else going on here.
Shut it down. Jeffrey was a member of God's chosen people, and you're not allowed to ask questions about his ties to Israeli intelligence on my show. Shapiro Steen, explain to the Goyim.
Thanks, fellow chosen person. Just because he was heavily funded by Zionists doesn't mean we hired Mossad to execute a.
The hell? I guess I gotta. Sorry, guys. I don't know what the hell happened with that one. I guess it started screwing up, but I'll get that fixed. I'll get that fixed for you guys. Give me about a quick 5 seconds. Boom. Told you. That's all you needed was 5 seconds.
Yeah, and TPUSA is absolutely.
Oh, explain to the Goyim.
Thanks, fellow chosen person. Just because he was heavily funded.
What the hell? Really?
By Zionists doesn't mean we hired Mossad.
Interesting. Interesting. Really? Well, all right then. I'm gonna have to go ahead and take that one to the chin. All right. I mean, while I go figure out what's up with this video, I'm gonna go ahead and switch over to the next one right here. Let's see here. Let's get over to Vivek Ramaswamy and why he might lose Ohio because of his thoughts on H-1B visa. I'm gonna watch Benny in a minute. What in God's name, though?
What's up, guys? Spenny. Here's a good lesson, kids. Think before you tweet, because it could really harm your life, especially if you're a political candidate, to put something really stupid out there and really insulting to the state in which you wish to lead. I mean, obviously, if you're just like tweeting memes, right? Shit posting, then go for it. If that's going to be your vibe. I'm not trying to tell you what to say or not. But if you want to run for office in America, well, it's best to not insult Americans. And that's something that is critical in the state of Ohio, which is a state that obviously has seen better days. And it's just a matter of fact. Ohio is just one of those states that is a laggard in a lot of major indicators. People there want good lives, just like anywhere else. They deserve good lives. I have nothing against Ohio. Donald Trump wins Ohio, obviously, by over 10 points in 2024.
Mm-hmm.
This is just a dominant performance, a 12-point electoral victory in Ohio.
And as you guys can see on here, is like places like where I'm at, and let me see if he
President Trump
drops it. There we go. Places like Columbus, where I'm at, is blue. So yes, I live in a liberal area. And places like Dayton, where I went to school at, blue. And then Cleveland, where I also lived there for a little bit, blue. And then Akron and Toledo, shout out to Tove because she lives over there in Toledo. And then shout out to my man Link because he lives over there in Cincinnati and he's a liberal. So at least you understand where he's getting that from. But yeah, mainly it's a red state. But our key cities that have the highest crime, like Cleveland has the highest crime. Yep, blue city. Next, the highest crime would probably be between Cincinnati and my city, blue cities. I know, this works out like that.
I mean, virtually every county, was it 5 counties, went to Kamala? Yeah, please. So yeah, Donald Trump just absolutely clowned in Ohio and then went ahead and endorsed Vivek Ramaswamy.
Hey, Tove, I'm not even sure how long you've been here, but like I said your name and you appeared.
Decided to run for governor of Ohio. And Vivek Ramaswamy had a little problem, or is having a problem.
Yes,
Vivek Ramaswamy is sending Ohio voters emails asking for support amid new polling showing that he's trailing his Democrat opponent. How can you trail your Democrat opponent in a state that President Trump won by 12 points and then he endorsed you? This seems to be like a layup, no look, bank shot, easy. Action is running a campaign. This is Vivek's opponent.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, and this is where I knew this was going to, I knew this was going to bite Vivek in the ass, even when it came to being governor for Ohio. I'm like, bro, I don't even think that as an Ohioan myself, bro, I'm not even trusting you as governor. And I like Vivek in the beginning, but that whole spiel on H-1B visas, I'm like scared because I'm going like, bro, if you're governor and the way you're speaking about American citizens, you're going to let a whole bunch of, I was about to get like Nick Fuentes in here, but you're about to let a whole bunch of Indians come over and just take those jobs from fellow Ohioans? Because the way your tweet sounded about H-1B visas, that's what it sounds like. It sounds like you're more India first than America first. It sounds like you're going to put foreigners over Americans, and you're going to use your pathetic excuse calling us lazy. Saying it's our culture, saying that, we celebrate the jock more than the tech nerd. And it's like, bro, that's everybody. Every culture across the goddamn board. So how you going to blame us for that? It sounded like you were just hating on some nerd stuff. Like, come on now.
Ads highlighting Ramaswamy's post where he called American workers lazy and compared their Eastern counterparts in defense.
He cooked
of
himself.
the H-1B visa program. Oh no. So she's running an identity politics campaign against a big time and identity politics moment from Vivek. That seems to be working. Look at this new poll from Hart.
Interesting.
Shows that Amy Action, this is the Democrat, lockdown lib, like somebody who shouldn't even stand a chance in Ohio, is actually running a point ahead of Vivek. And what is cited here is Vivek's Christmas Day. Look at this, December 26, 2024. Did you really need to do this? It's Christmas, guy. Just shut up. Can you just put the phones down like on Christmas? This is the problem. Too much like wine. Too many people like getting all antsy during Christmas, getting locked in the house with their families, and they go and post stuff like this. And this should not be posted. I'll just say it. Shouldn't be posted. Okay, I'm no political consultant, but you shouldn't do it. The reason tech companies often hire foreign-born and first-generation engineers over Native Americans. Should have just deleted after that line, bro. Should have just deleted after that sentence. Said, this isn't for me. Isn't because of an innate American IQ deficit. Lazy, wrong explanation. So he's saying that American have an IQ deficit. That's actually 100% false based on all available data. So Americans have on average, white Americans have on average the highest IQs in the entire world for like what is considered.
And actually, studies already came out that American seniors in computer science outperform their foreign counterparts. They outperform Indians, Asians, Russians. So like I said, they're not smarter than us. They're cheaper. So and that's what I'm saying. When Vivek said they're lazy, I'm like, bro, did you come over? Did you become a billionaire in India? No. Or did you come over here in our culture and become a billionaire? So why are you disrespecting our culture when your culture didn't make you a billionaire? No, it didn't. Actually, I could get real disrespectful with the Indian culture, but I'm not. I'm going to lay off y'all for a little bit. Trust me, Steven Crowder and that whole poop slinging festival that y'all had going on, y'all cooked yourselves enough. But I'm just going to say it like this. Vivek, you ain't become a billionaire in India. You ain't get a high education in India. You got that shit in America. Act like it.
tax European countries. Okay, so that is wrong, correct? A key part of it comes down to the C word, culture. Tough questions demand tough answers, and we're really serious about fixing the problem. We have to confront the truth. Are we really? What problem is there exactly with our culture?
Yeah, really.
Our American culture has venerated mediocrity.
Yeah, our American culture is venerated mediocrity over excellence for way too long, and at least since the 90s, and likely longer. That doesn't start in college; it starts young. Now, this what blows me. So, are you saying that's all American families, or are you just being pretty stereotypical? Because most American families champion excellence. Most American families aren't just saying crash out and just be a ball player. Like, bro, maybe, I mean, I don't know. If you want to talk about the black community, sure, but Americans across the board, no, not at all. We have a lot of people in STEM, so don't even try to make up that lie. That's what kills me. It's like they'll sit there and try to shit on American people, but did you become this wealthy person in India? No. Did you become this well-educated person in India? No. You became this successful person in America through our culture, not Indians' culture, through American culture. So hearing that culture BS is not a good argument. I'll tell you this right now. We're smarter than those kids out there in India. I'll tell you that right now. Well, at least our kids are in this, and that's not saying too much. I'll tell you that's right. That's really not saying a lot to say that. To be saying that our kids are actually smarter than the kids over there in India, yeah, that's not really saying too much. That's really shitting on India to the highest level. No offense to the kids of this generation, but we definitely do need to correct course with you guys. But I'm not gonna sit there and just throw those kids away and say that the Indians are better than them. I mean, first off, I'm an American. I believe in my people over anything. And you're not a real American if you don't. In my opinion. I mean, you can believe in the Chinese kids and the Indian kids more than your fellow Americans and think that you're a patriot, think that you're pro-American. That's on you. But I'm never going to sit there and put no other people over my own and then try to call myself America first or try to call myself MAGA. That just don't work.
Over excellence for way too long, at least since the 1990s. That doesn't start in college. That starts young.
And shout out to my man Daniel Castro. He says, Monty, thanks. He's like, thank you for going easy on India. I mean, hey, bro. Hey, I could have went definitely a whole lot harder on India if I wanted to, but I don't know, man. I feel like I already went hard on India enough. And besides, those Indian guys, yeah, they hate when I do that. Trust me. I get the threatening emails and all that, and I just start laughing because their English is terrible. Terrible, absolutely terrible. But they're the ones at the call centers, though, and they're the ones that these corporations are hiring and trust to talk to the American people over you. And these are the people supposed to be smarter than us, the people that can't even speak proper English. Thought so. Okay, maybe that was a bit mean, but it is what it is.
A culture that celebrates the prom queen over the math Olympian or the jock over the valedictorian will not produce the best engineers.
Really?
Bro, you gotta delete it.
Like, bro, you
gotta delete it.
Do you understand how that's what I'm saying? You guys are fed like a very a very false narrative about American intelligence, or this honestly our overall IQ and all that good stuff. Do you know how they living in India? Look how they living in India. Look what they doing in India. Tell me the motherfuckers are smarter than us. They literally have a slinging poop festival. You think they're smarter than us? Really? They're burning feces in the goddamn kitchen room, and they're smarter than us? Oh, really? They gotta come. When we don't go to their colleges, they come to ours, and they're smarter than us. We don't learn from their professors; they learn from ours, and they're smarter than us. Make it make sense.
Culture that venerates Corey from
now I'm being a dick.
From Boy Meets World, or Zach or Slater over Screech, Saved by the Bell, or Steve Urkel in Family Matters will not produce the best engineers.
Exactly. Shout out to. So underestimating USA is what cooked the Germans in World War II. We turned our economy into a literal weapon, and it was the belief that we are lazy. I mean, they're always going to try to feed that to people that they're afraid of. I think they're afraid of American ingenuity. They're afraid of American prosperity. And for some reason, we got our own Americans speaking against our own people. Can you imagine that? I mean, hey, if that's what y'all believe, then don't send your kids to school because you rather let an Indian take it, let an Asian take it. Don't even think about sending your kids to college if that's how you think. You don't even believe in your own kid. You don't even believe in your own kids in America. Like I said, how can you call yourself America first? How can you say you want what's best for America, but you don't even believe in the American people?
Years.
Okay,
fact, I know multiple sets of immigrant parents from the 1990s who actively limited how much their kids could watch those TV shows precisely because they promoted mediocrity. It's not mediocre. It's not mediocrity to be like a jock or a prom queen. That's great. That's like American culture stuff. That's amazing.
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, what you doing in India? Exactly. Let's not get into what you guys are doing against in India, because I'll tell you this right now. I mean, we can even get down to how y'all treat Muslims out there in India. Shoot, I mean, I thought we treat our Muslims bad until I read how y'all treat them in India. So we can really get to going. I mean, shoot, we can get to going on IQ. We can get to going on moral efficacy. Like, we're superior in them in almost every way when it comes to that. So please, don't talk about culture, especially if you want to talk about India. No, don't talk to us about that.
Here we go. More movies like Whiplash.
And this is why, because of views like mine, why Vivek would lose Ohio. Because we cannot forgive you for talking like that. And the thing is, as an Indian, he kind of exposed himself. It's like, all right, so you're India first. You're Indian immigrants first. You're not Americans first. You don't see all of us as Americans that are equal. No, and the way you were talking, you kind of see anybody who's a real American, you know, somebody who's like, who's somebody who's either black, white. You guys, you think that you're better than us. You think that you're above us. You think that your culture is also better, even though you're in our culture, even though our culture is the one that educated you, refined you, all that good stuff. And your culture is better than ours? Like, please, let me go to India. Let me learn what's going on over there. Refine me, please. And show me Americans that's going over to India and coming back scholars, coming back ahead of their field. Thought so.
Fewer reruns of Friends. I mean, I love Whiplash. It's a great movie. But I'm not sure it's saying what you think it's saying. More math tutoring, fewer sleepovers, more weekend science competitions, fewer Saturday morning cartoons, more books, less TV, more creating, less chilling. Well, I agree with some of these things, like the more books thing. Like, I
mean, it's and then here's it's like condescending as fuck. It's like, so are you assuming that most parents don't try to make their kids read? Are you assuming like, because yes, we got some bad examples, but that just isn't all American children. It's like they're almost trying to make it seem like all we have is dumbasses when that's not true. All we have is parents who mishandle their kids when that's not true. We're trying to refine our kids. We're trying to make sure we even pick up the kids that are being left behind by their parents. We're figuring it out. But God damn it, we know we got it more figured out than those guys in India.
What do you mean? America is like the innovation hub
of the world
for all of the
bro. Yes, the innovation hub of the world. Technology, medicine, like, bro, talk to us nice. Talk to us nice when you mention big USA. When you mention America, make sure you say like America. Like what?
World. I don't see there's anything wrong with our culture when it comes to sleepovers or watching Saturday morning cartoons. I feel personally attacked, by the way. Somebody who watched a lot of Saturday morning cartoons. Most normal American parents look skeptically at those kind of parents. More normal American kids view those kind of kids with scorn. Growing up in aspiring normalcy. Normalcy is what you will achieve.
See, and he kind of sounds like that nerdy kid that was punked and Vivek never got the girl that he wanted in high school because he was just such a nerd. And that's sad for you, bro. But you became a billionaire. So it's like, who cares? And your wife looks good. So it's like you won in the end. What's all this for? And to sit there and say that's all Americans is absolutely untrue. A lot of Americans value education. A lot of Americans value their kids' education. If that wasn't true, why the hell do you think we wanted the DOE dismantled? Because it was failing our kids' education. So to sit there and kind of, I ain't be real with you, shit on Americans like this, yeah, why we trust you to try to help out all Americans? It sounds like you just want to help out your own and then give us the excuse of, well, our culture is better. And, you know, we this whole scholarly task up higher than you guys do. No, the fuck you don't. Or you guys will be head engineering this world. You guys will be the world power. it would be you, but it's not.
Okay. I think normalcy is awesome. Now close your eyes and visualize what families you knew in the 90s, how they raise their kid according to the model versus others. Be brutally honest. Normalcy doesn't cut it in a hyper-competitive global marketplace for technical talent. And if we pretend like it does, then we'll have our athletes.
Yeah, but here's the problem. In a hyper-competitive market, if we're talking about competitive in skills, we beat them. But if we're talking about competitive in price, they beat us. So, like I said, they're not better than us. They're cheaper than us. And most of these H-1B visas, 83% of them are sent there from entry-level to mid-level jobs, a.k.a. they have no reason being there.
This is handed to us by China. This can be our Sputnik moment. We've awakened this from slumber before. We can do it again. Trump's election hopefully marks the beginning of a new golden era in America. Culture needs to wake up. Culture that once again prioritizes achievement over normalcy, excellence over mediocrity, nerdiness over conformity. I think we already do that, right? Like, how many of the world's patents are filed in America? Right?
Literally.
Like, America is the entire global stock market. I'm not saying that's the best judge of how things are going, but and that's how we have to cut it. That's the work we have cut out for us, rather than wallowing in victimhood and wishing or legislating alternate hiring practices into existence. No, we absolutely should do that. So yeah, that's just a pretty historic crap.
It's like, and that's what killed us.
So yeah,
it's like the reason why top tech companies often hire foreign-born first-generation engineers over native is because they're cheaper. It's because when they come in on the H-1B, they're cheaper. The fact that and here's the thing, Vivek uses H-1B visas. Elon Musk uses H-1B visas. And who's the most ardent supporters of H-1B visas? Those two.
That's just a pretty historic crash out. And it just looks really bad now that the H-1B visa debate is going, heating up again. It just looks extra bad. Vivek's Christmas comments, Americans are too lazy, were a career killer. Looks like it. They're running hard against Vivek. So this is his opponent. I've lived in poverty. I've seen it. Only a truly out-of-touch billionaire who calls Ohio workers lazy would say that it's basically statistically impossible to.
Yeah, and I cooked them. And that's what's going to happen. Yeah, Amy Action edges out of Vivek Ramaswamy, a new governor. Bro, a new Ohio Bro, Ohio might be going blue because Vivek's such a shitty candidate for his speech on not believing the American people. And here's the problem. Vivek will always come out with the holier than thou attitude and start talking to everybody like, oh, well, this is what you need to do, Republicans, to win the midterms and all that. Bro, you're not even sure if you can win Ohio, okay? Focus on Ohio. Focus on backtracking what the F you just said about the American people, because apparently you're going to lose it. You're losing to a Dem in a red state, bro. Like, obviously, this H-1B visa means a little bit more to the American people, obviously.
And it just looks really bad now that the H-1B visa debate is going, heating up again. It just looks extra bad. Vivek's Christmas comments, Americans are too lazy, were a career killer. Looks like it. They're running hard against Vivek. So this is his opponent. I've lived in poverty. I've seen it. Only a truly out-of-touch billionaire who called.
Yeah, I lived in poverty. It's like, bro, we've seen it. We've seen H-1B visas slide through, and all of a sudden there's a whole bunch of Indian and Asians. You're just going like, damn, no Americans? Like, well, why can't you hire Americans? Oh, because these guys are like 20 to 30K less a year. All right, well, I can see where the savings are. So, and yes, and if you've actually seen it, and that's what I'm saying, it didn't make Vivek look hell of out of touch. So out of touch. Only a true out-of-touch billionaire who calls Ohio workers lazy, or in Ohio, not just Ohio workers, but Ohio scholars lazy, would say that it's basically statistically impossible to end up in those circumstances if you can read by third grade. I'm like, he really doesn't understand how rigged the system is. You know what, bro? I'm not even going to go into her, the system's rigged part. I'm just going to go into the part where you pretty much just called Ohio workers and scholars lazy, and we should just, we should allow our jobs be taken to the guys who are getting paid less because they're smarter? No. They're getting paid less because they're cheaper, and for some reason, you guys rather bring in help from outside the United States because, one, like I said, it's cheaper. Two, it's quite honestly easier in a way than and trust me, I don't really know how this works out. This is how one of these tech guys were working it out for me. He was like, it's easier to deal with the immigrants. It's easier to deal with them than American citizens. Oh, I remember now, because you can talk shit to them. You could threaten their job. When your job or when your residency depend on your job, yeah, your boss could talk a little reckless to you. They can make you work longer. They can actually abuse these guys. And we're okay with that, as long as we don't got to work those tech jobs, huh?
Ohio workers lazy would say that it's basically statistically impossible to end up in these circumstances. He really doesn't understand how rigged the system is. Wow. Vivek says Ohioans are lazy and mediocre. He's wrong. So they're just going to run against him on this. Vivek Ramaswamy's opponent, Amy Action, primary campaign strategy involves continuously quoting Ramaswamy's infamous tweet that criticizes Americans for being lazy and incapable of doing jobs in order to justify H-1B visas. Boy, it's true.
It's true. It's what it is.
I'm running against a guy, Vivek Ramaswamy, who says that the people struggling in Ohio because they're lazy and mediocre. Oof.
Yeah.
Bro.
Yeah, I mean,
lazy and mediocre.
That's literally what he called Ohio workers and scholars and parents lazy and mediocre. I'm like, bro. And the thing is, I don't even know what really possessed him to honestly send that out. It just shows, honestly, the hubris of that man. Just actually thought that I was just going to go well with the American people. And then here's the thing. It also irritated me when Trump kind of said the same thing on Laura Ingram's, his interview with Laura Ingraham. I'm just like, do you not see how that worked out for Vivek? The man was damn near banished from MAGA because of that. But hey, y'all gonna figure out how we truly feel about these H-1B visas, and like you're gonna figure it out. If it take Vivek losing Ohio for you guys to figure it out, so be it.
Mediocre. Oof. Bro. And it's working. It's like she's like a COVID lockdown, like psycho lib. She shouldn't have any chance in Ohio. What a nightmare. This is a generic fundraising pitch. They use random poll to suggest that they need donations. It appeals to boomers. Vivek will win the primary in part because he's willing to play the political game. No. Anyway, and this is a really smart takedown.
Damn.
Of why this attack works.
Yeah.
Right? Vivek's vulnerability on this line of attack, the kill shot, proves that like Vivek isn't a man of his word. If you take,
I mean, let's be real. Like after what Vivek said is like, bro, all these jobs that are coming into Ohio, Vivek, are you just gonna get all these tech companies, the data centers, AI? You're just gonna let a whole bunch of Indians work there? Because that's what you seem like you're more aligned with those guys than you're more India first and America first, bro. That's what it's sounding like. And I'm pretty sure we look into your pharmaceutical companies and the H-1B visas you got there. How much you want to bet they're mostly Indians? So Vivek, do you really believe in America? Do you really believe in your average American? Or do you just believe in bringing in more of your own? Like, what is it?
Is it back, right? He tries to correct it. He is a man of his word and he meant it, but it's like indefensible. We just went through it. I mean, it's a really bad, like it's like if you were writing a college essay, but like if you're a candidate, it's a really bad thing to say. If you're a candidate and you want Americans to vote for you, this is not the tweet to send. Obviously. I'm somebody who's given advice to Vivek, before when he was like, bopping around the primaries and stuff. We would roll out. And I was like, I can't imagine what he was thinking. I don't know. Nobody asked me though, bro. Nobody asked me. It was Christmas anyway, so I wouldn't have picked up.
And Joshua, I would ask you to state, because when you say, I own my own business for 23 years. Okay, so what job was it that Americans just sucked at? Because I couldn't really name you one job we honestly suck at, to be honest with you. Not one job Americans suck at. Now, some Americans that suck at that job, but not Americans as a whole suck at that job. Like, come on now. So I would have to ask you, where do you work to where you feel like Americans suck at? And maybe we can point you in the right direction to some real Americans that can do the job. Or maybe it's your own, folly in hiring people. You never know. You never know, man. Sometimes best to look within. But all right, though. I did want to preview this Trump interview, but you know what? Let me see if I can get this one video to start working. Be right back here.
My gut feeling about this, Officer Tatum, is there's the reason actually in the end,
Bruh, All right, then you're just hiring the wrong Americans, dog. You're hiring the wrong Americans. It's either that or you're purposely just going for the Mexicans at that point. Like contracting and building houses. Bro, I got my dog Green Bean in the chat who does that. Green Bean, white dude, American, in California, building and contracting house. He actually posts a lot of his work, which is really nice work, on our Discord all the time. Shout out to Green Bean if you're watching. Like, what? You don't think there's a bunch of American? Come on, bro. Like I said, complete underestimation of Americans. What? Come on, dog. I know dudes who uncles taught them how to build houses and contract. Like, you tell, and they do a damn good job of it. Come on, bro. You just didn't find the right Americans.
The side has felt compelled to release all these files is I suspect when we see them all that both sides have a lot of blood on their hands, not literally, but in terms of embarrassing revelation, perhaps evidence of alleged criminality and so on. I suspect you'll see this is a proper bipartisan scandal. I only base that on the type of guests that Epstein was having all the time. They were from every part of American high society, Democrat, Republican, you name it, they were trotting down there. So from what I'm gathering from people who've seen these files, there's a lot of embarrassment to be had for both parties.
I don't know, bro. It's kind of crazy how people literally sit there and see and think that they just because they see one lazy American or even a couple and they think just all Americans. That's like low-key probably the worst way to think about your own people. It's like you just think it's all of us. I mean, come on, is that really fair? Just because a couple lazy Americans who couldn't get along with the job or who might have even lied on their application and you gave them the job. I mean, does that say that all Americans can't do building and all that good stuff and landscape or whatever you, my bad, I'm sorry, but whatever you do, like, is that really fair to say when even I know a lot of Americans that do that job quite well? But hey, it is what it is, man. It is what it is. Now, dang. Oh, wow. So, hey, guys, you try to go on next. I guess X is down. All right, guys, let's get over to polling numbers. And let me see if I can get this funny video up to close it out.
We're still sifting through the results from those 2025 elections in New Jersey and Virginia. And one of the big questions that has been asked is, where are Latino voters? A Latino voting shift toward Donald Trump in 2024 helped propel him to victory. So what do the results in New Jersey and Virginia show us now? What might it tell us about what U.S. opinions are on the president's immigration policy? With us now, CNN chief data analyst Harry Enton. Harry, a lot going on constantly on the issue of immigration and immigration crackdowns. The Latino vote, what are we seeing among the polls there?
Yeah, what are we seeing? One of the big shifts in 2024 from 2020 was that shift towards Donald Trump, right? Immigration played a key role. And then I want to start off with Latinos on Trump and immigration. Back a year ago, what did we see on the issue of immigration? Latino voters trusted Kamala Harris more than Donald Trump, but by just 2 points. 1, 2. Look now at Donald Trump's net approval rating on immigration among Latinos. He is 38 points underwater. That is a 36-point shift, essentially, from where we were a year ago on immigration. Kamala Harris and Donald Trump are basically.
And honestly, I think that's because, one, the ICE raids. Now, are the ICE raids? Am I saying the ICE raids are bad? No, but I do believe that there's a lot of false propaganda. There's a lot of propaganda going around about the ICE raids. Like I said, there's AI generated ICE arrests that people think are real, and when you're literally sowing outrage, that's what leads to these type of numbers.
Tied on the issue of immigration, and now on the issue of immigration, Latinos despise, hate Donald Trump. 38 points underwater. In their mind, he is doing something absolutely wrong when it comes to immigration.
What about the Latino vote overall?
What about the Latino vote overall? All right, how do Latinos feel about Donald Trump overall? Let's take a look here. This, I think, sort of gives the game away.
Goodness.
Yeah,
I'm sorry, Latinos, but look, I guess you didn't understand that this is how we were coming.
They shit sweet till I send out the guys, and I said it before, and it ain't the last time. You think you're gonna take these jobs? I send you back over that wall and make you climb. Come through trim, deporting your father, your sister, your brother, your cousin, your mama. Just sent 300 national guards to the rack. Donald Trump went, this is Sparta. We catching their ass outside and sending their ass back home. And I got shot with that fire. How I survived? Man, that shit unknown. Government won't even answer the phone. He said that I'm doing the shit that he won't. Why are they talking about switches on guns like we not the ones that gave it a go? Tell you something you don't know. Chicago fucked up cause the government slow. Murder rate never was low. Everybody killing cause everybody is broke. And why is everybody broke? because the immigrants taking the jobs you want. Send them back over the wall, take notes. I send them back on a plane, a boat. I don't want them in the country no more. I don't want no one looking for work at the store. Why the fuck is they making the city look bad? Why the fuck is they round waving that flag? I got so sick of this shit and I'm mad. I called Joe Biden that night and I bragged. They deep in the street, then you know it's DT. Free Larry Hoover, I'm really GD. And I hop in the back of a black truck. Camouflage bulletproof vest and you cannot attack us. Stupid little boy better back up. I get the snapping and turn the whole city to back up. Ain't no more New Mexico, I rename. They don't know we about to use Chicago for training. I put 300 guys in the streets in this place. We making America great, it's amazing. Think shit sweet till I send out the guys. I done said it before and it ain't the last time. You think you gonna take these jobs? I send you back over that wall and make you climb. Come through trim, deporting your father, your sister, your brother, your cousin, your mama. Just sent 300 National Guards to the rack. Donald Trump went, this is Sparta. We catching their ass outside and sending their ass back home. And I got shot with that fire. How I survived? Man, that shit unknown. Government won't even answer the phone. He said that I'm doing the shit that he won't. Why are they talking about switches on guns like we not the ones that gave it a go?
It was a crazy mess that Biden is making the Trump administration clean up. You're going to have to understand that millions of people made it through. So it's going to be a crazy cleanup. And yeah, this is how we're pretty much coming. We're deporting everybody who's not supposed to be here. We don't care if you've been here for 10 years or longer. You have subverted American law for long enough and you gotta go. I mean, I know it sounds fucked up, but law is law.
My goodness. I mean, that is the phrase of the day. Trump's net approval rating among Latinos. In early February, again, he was just 2 points underwater. Look at where he is now. Late October, minus 34 points, 34 points underwater, a shift of 32 points over the course of this year. I should point out this is the CBS News YouGov poll, but I was looking at the averager polls. I was looking at our own poll. Very similar shift. 20, 25, 30-point shifts on the net approval rating away from Donald Trump among Latinos overall. Again, whatever Donald Trump is doing in office, in the minds of Latinos, it is not working. They have turned against him in massive, massive numbers.
I was in New Jersey a couple weeks ago on election night.
I mean, yeah, when you start deporting people's grandmas, moms, and family members that have been here 10 years plus, but somehow never tried to want to get legalized, or naturalized. But yeah, when you're dealing with people like that, I'm gonna be honest with you, they are gonna start hating us. I somewhat get it, but they gotta understand that. Look, we just can't allow the subversion of the law just because your grandma, just because it's your grandma, just because your auntie, just because it's your dad. It's like, no, we're not allowing that. I mean, we wouldn't, bro. Let's say this was murder or something. I mean, you think we're gonna give you the grace then? We won't even give you the come on now. When you commit a crime, when you commit a crime, there's consequences. What are the consequences of that crime? I mean, hey, for your Consuela, who's been here for 10 years, is being deported. For your dad that's been here for 5 years, who could have, or maybe 15 years or so, who had you here, who could have got naturalized, well, he gotta go. It sounds fucked up. They've been in the community for years, but sorry, they have to go. And I'm not feeling bad about it. I'm gonna be honest with you. I'm not feeling bad about it. Why? Because a lot of these people have a lot of opportunity to get naturalized and they never did. Or they got in here illegally and for some reason they're waiting for mass amnesty that never happened for them and now they got to go.
People were watching certain counties with high Latino populations very closely. What did we learn?
Yeah, what did we learn from the 2025 elections? I took the highest Latino percentage area in both New Jersey and Virginia. New Jersey, it was Union City. Look at this, 2024 president, 2025 governorship. There was a 52.
Damn. But anyway, bro, what does me being black have to do with my support of ICE? Think about that. I don't care if you're a Haitian here. If you're here illegally, lock his black ass up and send his ass back home. We catching the ass outside and sending the ass back home. Do you understand? Did you not hear that first part of the song? We catching y'all asses outside or they asses outside and we send their ass back home. So every time you want to get emotional with me and be like, you're black, isn't this bad? We're catching their ass outside and we send their ass back home. Okay?
Laughing because you never see any numbers like this. A 52-point shift towards Mikey Sherrill from how Kamala Harris did on the margin. Mikey Sherrill ran away with this. Kamala Harris did win that vote, but by a small margin. Mikey Sherrill did 52 points better. How about in Virginia, Manassas Park? Look at that. A 22-point shift towards Abigail Spanberger from how Kamala Harris did back in 2024. We saw huge Latino shifts in both New Jersey and Virginia. The idea of what happens to Donald Trump won't impact down ballot. If you're Republican, you believe that, that is fantasy land. What is happening to Donald Trump absolutely impacted what happened down ballot. Part of it is turnout, but part of it is persuasion. Latinos running away from Republicans, running to the Democrats. A big
like Rome. Who is them? What? I'm not American? Obviously, I'm American. Like, obviously, if you can't tell by the dialect at this point, but come on now. Like, who is them? Well, what do you mean? Like, I'm not part of ICE? Of course I'm not part of ICE. But let's be real, though. When I stand with the message that we're catching the ass outside and we're sending the ass back home. And if I don't, and I do have a heart. I have a heart for when people follow the law. I have a heart for those who are doing it the right way, who is trying to get in but can't get in because there's so many people who subverted the law and did it illegally. I have a heart for those people, but I don't have a law. I don't really have much of a heart for the, the lawbreakers. I'm sorry. It just is what it is. I'm sorry, but I save my empathy for people who actually follow the law, who actually want to assimilate into the society and not just abuse the border because Joe Biden had a free willy in there or just had a free reign to just walk all over it. All right. All right. Other than that, I don't really know what you mean by you're not them.
Version of the meme, Latinos back in the Democratic camp in 2025 in a way they simply put we're not in 2024, and it's because of Donald John Trump.
Look, a lot can change between now and next November, the 2026. But if you start sort of extrapolating this and overlaying it on places like Texas.
Yes, we're going to be having lots of discussion about Texas. That redistricting may not work out the way that a lot of Texas Republicans and Donald Trump hope.
Yeah. Barry, great to see you.
Nice to see you, my friend.
Sarah.
All right. North Carolina's governor is responding to the immigration raids you heard them talking about. Governor Josh Stein is urging people to document encounters with Border Patrol agents. He warns that agents are targeting people of color and arresting them in churches and stores.
Hey, I mean, illegals go to church too. It is what it is.
We've seen masked, heavily armed agents and paramilitary garb driving unmarked cars, targeting American citizens based on their skin.
Wrong. No. Targeting people not based on their skin color, but based on the information that they've gathered to pretty much make the allegation that they're here illegally. So no, it's not just about skin color. I mean, just because we're rounding up a whole bunch of Hispanics, let's be real, it's just coincidental. Like, it is what it is. Like, I'm sorry, but there's more Hispanics that cross over here illegally than black people, than white people, than Asian people. And we're cracking down on the Asian people too. Did you not hear what was going down on Canal Street? So come on now. It's not about race. We're getting everybody across the board, okay? So don't make it about race.
Color, racially profiling and picking up random people in parking lots. This is not making us safer. It's stoking fear and dividing our community.
Joining me now is Manuel Manolo Betancourt.
Wrong, lady. Wrong. Settlers are a bit different than illegal immigrants. Illegal immigrants would imply that the Indians had a immigration system set up. And obviously they didn't. Or they didn't send those white guys right back to where they came from. So wrong, lady. Wrong. I mean, and you're an immigrant. Bro, I was born in America. I'm a U.S. natural born citizen. I'm not sure what's so hard to understand about that.
He owns the popular Manolo's Bakery there in Charlotte. First, let me ask you, what happened, Manuel, at your bakery or outside your bakery?
This past Saturday, I was walking here on this avenue, and then
somebody says it's about law abiding versus law breaking. If they're here illegally, they're law breaking. Just because they came over here illegally and they decide just to not break any more laws, they're still here illegally. They still broke a law. That's where some of y'all sound retarded at a certain point.
unmarked cars just approach just four guys jump out from the car and throw pedestrians down to the floor, and all of these people could be customers from my bakery. And then these cars start coming here to my parking lot as well.
We're seeing some of the video taken by a bystander who is showing, the agents running, people falling on the ground, them trying to nab and pick up people. What have you done with Manolo's Bakery? What have you decided to do with your business because of this?
It's the first time in 28 years.
So basically, you're just, I need to protect my people. So thank you, bro, for admitting that you basically hire illegals. Because, like, what would you need to be protecting if everybody in there were here legally? You wouldn't be having to say, I need to protect my people, because the ICE wouldn't have nothing to do there. They wouldn't be even going in there because nobody under suspicion if you kept things, you know, clean, as in you were doing clean hiring, which obviously you weren't if you feel like you need to close down, because that's what happened that's what happened over here in Columbus. When I start coming through and locking up a lot of these people in these shops and all that good stuff, a lot of shops closed down because they hired mostly illegals. So if your shop gets closed down because you hired mostly illegals, that's on you. Nobody else but yourself. And you should be going to jail.
We closed the bakery. The only time that we had closed it was a few hours when the founder passed away in 2014. So I decided not to risk my customers, not to risk.
Rome, nobody's talking about the asylum seekers. You're trying to bring in the asylum seekers as if I'm talking about them, but I'm not. So, bro, educate yourself on what I'm talking about.
My employees and not risk myself
My
and
boy.
my family. That could be
They want to tie in something to
myself,
a point.
my wife, or my kids who were walking on the streets and they just turned down to the floor like what I saw. So it's too risky, and I don't want to carry in my shoulders the heaviness of maybe a kid to lose their father or their mother because they were on their way to the bakery to get a cake.
Yeah, and because you hire illegals, and illegals are known to show up at your shop, so why else would they show up there? But you know, if you're a dem, you're gonna go off straight emotion and be like, you see, they can't even go out and get cake set. Most likely because his bakery hires illegals. Why? Because he's loyal to his people, and that's respectable. But because he's loyal to his people, he's gonna make sure they have a way to work, which means hiring them, even though they don't have documentation. Which, to be honest, I don't really blame him for. Like I said, he's being race loyal. He's trying to help his people out, but it's illegal, and you should go to jail for it. It is what it is. Like, hey, I can respect you and still think you should go to jail.
You're an American citizen, and you've been in this country for many years as an entrepreneur. Are you yourself doing something different because of these ICE raids? Are you afraid?
Yeah, I've been carrying my passport all this year. And nowhere in the Constitution says that as an American citizen, I have to carry my passport to show that I'm an American citizen. But because the color of my skin, my race, my accent, and I feel that they are profiling me, and I don't want to go through all this process like we have seen and like what I saw, getting hit on the floor and 10, 20 minutes later, threw me to the street when they realized that they found out I'm an American citizen.
I want you to respond to what we've been hearing from the Trump administration
can barely speak English.
and the Border Patrol folks saying that this is all about following the rule of law and getting criminals off the streets. How do you see it?
If they are renewed and
and that's the framing they do is like, well, I thought there was probably get criminals off the street. I mean, y'all got y'all police for that. Yeah, it's not like this is about getting illegal immigrants off the street, not just all like, sure, we catch criminals doing that, but that's for your local police, ma'am. Like, it's kind of funny how you're trying to put, oh, well, aren't they only supposed to be going after criminals? Immigration enforcement guys, not your local police.
And there is like some criminals, why they didn't send the information to the CMPD and to the cops here? Saturday they picked 81 people from the street, and just like 7 of them had like some criminal issues. Why they didn't send the information to our local police enforcement? I think, and I feel this is more just like intimidation and trying to scare us, and a family separation is the biggest thing here. Our children losing their parents and their mothers.
Manuel Manolo Betancourt, I know that you're closing your business, you said, for the first time in 28 years. Thank you for taking the time this morning to speak with us, and we'll be checking back in.
Oh, trust me, he ain't closing his business because ICE is dangerous. He's closing his business because a lot of his workers ain't coming in because they're illegals. That's why you closing your business. We're like, trust me, we know the real. It ain't about you caring so much for your people. It's about the fact that, yeah, you were hiring a whole bunch of illegals, and now that ICE is sitting out there, your workers ain't pulling up. I mean, why else would you be closing? Like, trust me, they ain't stopping the legal Mexicans or the illegal Hispanics. They're stopping the illegal ones who's trying to, you know, get to work at your shop. Hey, man, but like I said, respect, though. Respect. You know, you people coming in from an effed up situation, you trying to give them a job. It's just illegal. It is what it is. Like I said, all respect, but I do think you should go to jail. But all right, guys. But all right. I think I'm having enough poking fun at you guys about y'all insane immigration policies, or you just trying to demonize ICE because what? You don't either understand what they're doing, or you're just trying to radicalize what they're doing. Either way, I mean, trust me. I mean, you're not gonna hurt my feelings getting mad about it. You ain't gonna hurt ICE feelings, and the operations are still gonna continue. Now, are we gonna get all of them out of here? Probably not. But god damn it, at least we're trying. Get as much of it as you can, guys. Go crazy. Legally, of course. Legally. I know you guys about to have my head over that one. But, hey, I'm going to go ahead and head out on this one, guys. I think we're damn. Yep, it's about that time. Yeah, it's time for me to head out. I'm going to go ahead and end out with a couple funny clips for you guys. I appreciate the support. And I will catch you guys on the next one. Peace.
Black people can go up and say that there's a baby mama problem in Black America, and white people are not allowed to say that. Oh, I just did. So what are you going to do, cancel me?
You should at least acknowledge the racism that happens around you.
Okay, well, yeah, if an individual act of racism happens.
That is just taking accountability.
Why don't you take accountability for all the blacks killing police in New York? Black individuals have much more intellectual public freedom than white people do. If a white person were to come up and say, you know, Black America really needs to get its act together and stop sleeping around all the time, and it needs to actually have enough. Why would you? Because it's true.
If Trump wasn't running in 2020, who would win?
The illegals would win. MS-13, the illegals, the drugs would win. They'd have a big day. Drugs would be unbelievable.
And 20 years from now, they're going to say, why is the